so long. We were to start at 7:30, but thank you for being patient. So we shall do introductions very quickly so that we can start. Let's start from that table there. Jane.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Jane Bishure from Nairobi City County, Gender Office.
My name is Oweru, Nairobi City County, Architects Section.
Morning. I'm Mase Wanjohi from Nairobi City County Government. I'm in the Gender Affairs section.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Wendy Muganda. I work for the Human Rights Office.
Thank you.
Morning once again. Pastor Patrick Lumumba, working in the Human Rights Office.
Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Morning. Roslyn Mkabana. I work for NMS Health, coordinating GBV for the sector.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Wangu Kanja from the Wangu Kanja Foundation. We also convene the survivors of sexual violence in Kenya network.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My name is Shem Nyandwara Mbura, Director Social Services, Nairobi County.
Thank you.
Morning, everyone. My name is Jared Ondera. I'm the chairman for Ungafe Nairobi County.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Charity. I'm the coordinator for GAF, Nairobi County.
Thank you. And our cameraman?
My name is Raymond Klanderman, and I work in the Women Rights Office.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Levato Uma, working at the Office of the Woman.
Thank you so much. So, Pastor Lumumba, you can take us to the next.
Yeah, I think before you leave, you can just do some good opening.
Okay, fine. So I think I said the purpose for this meeting, and therefore we are here as the county, the Office of the Woman Rep, then the Nairobi City County Government, that is the Gender Department, and representative from NMS. The representative from the DG's office was here, but she left for another meeting. So as we are here, we will be looking at the drawings for the proposed safe house, and if possible later, then we can be able to go to do a site visit to the place. We also anticipate that we will have a memorandum of understanding, an MOU after this, so that we can be able to work together towards actualizing the safe house for our GBV survivors in this county. So that is the discussion we shall be having around this morning. So that's it. Remember, I think we shall discuss more further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pamela. I want us to be a little bit practical and participatory. At this particular time, we were supposed to have Madam Janet Ouko, the CECM gender, but Madam Jane Bishure will now take charge and give us some work. Thank you. Karibu.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So I'm very pleased to be here, and we are truly grateful to the county that we have this meeting today, Madam Esther Service. And I wish to bring the apology of our Waziri, our County Executive Committee member, Madam Janet Ouko, who was supposed to be with us in this meeting, but then she was just called for another function this meeting, and therefore please accept her apology. But she sends her best wishes, and she says that we are very much together in this venture because we know the importance of having a safe house in Nairobi. And as a duty bearer, we know that it is our responsibility as government to provide a safe house, and of course with the escalating cases of GBV. And therefore I shall not say much, but because we are here with my director, I will call upon my director maybe to say to do a few remarks, and then we continue. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
as Ken has stated, our minister, Madam Onguko, she was committed somewhere, but I want to give some remarks of which we wanted to come up with in this particular session. Actually, as we are planning to come up with the safe house, I think we have done something little, and that is why we are here for the same. First of all, when you start a project, you have to set aside, if it's a project like the safe houses, you have to set aside of land. That's the most important. Fortunately, we have the land. The land is at Runda. It's called Mutua Uruma. And right away now, the activities which are going, they are what we have there at hand. We have an institution of the aged, women and the men. We have around, right away now, we are around 48 who are there. We have the hostels, we have where they stay, and everything. We are taking care of it. That's where the land is treated. It's a big land, it's not a small land. Although we had been saying an encroachment has come, but when it comes into that, you have seen even those people who have built these storages and what, they'll come down if you have grabbed the land of the government. That's the first thing. Secondly, we have done the drawings of which we are going to be shown maybe here. We have the architecture there. He'll come up with it, all those designs, the BQs, and also we have a goodwill from our governor, from our minister, the assembly. They are all aware about that. Then, now lastly, if we have availed all those, plus our Mheshimiwa here, who is going to pursue that, and give look for partners, look for stakeholders. If we join all our hands together, we'll come up with all those safe houses of which we are planning for our people in Nairobi, because we want everybody to stay, at least to improve the standard of living, especially shelter. Thank you very much. I don't have much to say, and that is the remarks from our minister. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. I think he has really talked well about this project. The safe house has been in the heart of Mheshimiwa for so long. And it is really wonderful that now there is a place that she can now put up a safe house, and this is wonderful. Asante sana, Director. Now, before that, now I will request an overview of the status of safe house in Nairobi, and Roslyn Mkabana, please take charge and at least give us the overview.
Good morning once again. Mheshimiwa, Director Agenda, all protocols observed, ladies and gentlemen. For me, this is a milestone, and we have come from far. Mheshimiwa, you remember our first 16 days somewhere in Jivanji Gardens, and you actually raised something like this, and we did not think it would actually come to fruition, to the effect that we can actually today sit and discuss as a county for Nairobi that we need to have safe spaces. For us in Nairobi as a health sector, we've adversely been affected by the lack of a shelter. It's not that we don't have shelters in Nairobi. We have shelters that are run by partners. And as Nairobi, we have had to provide in one way or another support through partners, and working with very good partners who have even assessed some of our shelters. And during last year's COVID pandemic, were able to support. We assessed 5 shelters, and I think 4 of them are being supported through UN Women and CREW to be able to have the operational costs of these shelters. And Mheshimiwa, I actually visited with you one. We officially launched Shopko with you, and then we also visited Women's Hope in Karen. We also have a Maisha Safe House in Bahati that caters for children. And then we have a few that are being run by gender defenders within our community. However, the challenges are that when we have these shelters being run by gender defenders, perpetrators always get to know, or even families of the perpetrators get to know where we have been able to secure security for the survivors. And in a number of times we have had our gender defenders' houses burnt because of this. So we actually put gender defenders at a very bad situation. We also have another shelter that caters for children in Riruta, and it's called Mary Faith. If you visited and see the type of work that Mary Faith does with children who have been abused, you'll realize that there's a lot that goes on with it. One disadvantage that we have with the shelters that are being run by partners or by CSOs or by individuals is that somebody does it out of a passion. Either because they went through some form of violation one day or another, or they have seen people who have undergone violations. It is very good to have a passion, but then putting somebody in a safe house means there's a lot that has to go with it. We need to have case workers. We need to have security. We need to have people who are supporting in running of the shelter. But if it's a place where we have children, we need to ensure that we have staffs to the extent of a matron who can be able to even identify when ailments are there. We need to have social workers who can be able to follow up cases of survivors when their cases are going on in court. And we also need to have managers, and we need to have clinical psychologists and professional counselors. We are dealing with a vulnerable community, and it is important that we have all these services. So standing here, I'm also bringing the apologies of my director, Dr. Oluga, who on Mondays is it's normally a very busy day for us at health sector because we have the management meeting that goes on up around 11. So all the managers are in that meeting. However, he is very much with us. I also bring in the apologies of Jane Kagiri, our gender advisor to the Director General, who had joined us earlier but has also had to go for another meeting, and also my Deputy Director, Dr. Ngunu, who was to join us also. But as I've said, at NMS, we are having the managers meeting ongoing. As I stand here, we have the commitment of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services. And it is important for us to bring it out that whether NMS, whether NCCG, Wanjiku does not know who is NCCG, Wanjiku does not know who is NMS. Wanjiku just knows that she needs services. And those services must just be provided. And we need to just pick up that baton and say it is the responsibility of the government to provide a safe and secure shelter for our survivors. And it goes without saying that it's been a long journey. And until we raised it as an ask during our International Women's Day, and the DG was open and said, let me know, we will fund. And the beauty of it is that even as we sit here, and our women rep has also taken it up as her child, she is working with us. We have already given birth to that child. Ameanza kucrawl kwa sababu najua kuna chapa mahali zitatokea. When I see this table, I'm okay. Because I know something is going to happen. But we have to work together as a team. No one person will be able to take credit for shelters. Whether it's the State Department of Gender Affairs, whether it's the Survivors or Network, or whether it's the County Government of Nairobi. All we know is initially we thought we would have 17 shelters. But for now, I'm just crying for one. One that can be able to be managed professionally and with all the standards that go within providing a safe space. Where we can have, if we get children, we have a children's section. If we get older women, we have a place for them. If we have adolescents, we have a place for them. My ask, Mheshimiwa, is as we embark on this, I would want us to visit Makueni and just see what it is that they have put up, so that we can see where are we at? Even as we look at the drawings today, what is it that we need to do? Is it something that is near a police station? Is it attached to a health facility? Or is it a place where we can have even case conferences going on? We need professional work in this. And I'm glad we have started on a good footing with the highest office in the county of women that stands up to recognize the need for this. And as a champion, Mama, imagine hauna lako, we just have to get these houses. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
Madam Kabana, you've really talked about it, and you really understand where we have come from. And as I said even earlier, it has been a pregnancy that has been disturbing Honorable Pasaris, and is now, it seems, Yakomba, the baby is now playing, almost coming out. And through the director, Mtoto is already out. Now, Mama is now healing a bit, and as we continue, breastfeeding the baby, things will work very, very well. Yeah. So,
Minister, we have discussed about the safe house. As a section head, I was asked to talk, and we asked for what we thought we needed. What we did is, we did a letter and asked them to do a building. They did, it's like a residential, what we have, I'm going to show it, it's like a residential which can for now house about 20. I've had meetings, I've gone to meetings where I think it's 5 bedroom and tier space, but I think it is something that we can work on. For me, it is exciting to know that we need something that is going to start us off. As much as we were not very sure of the kind of thing that we want, I think this is a good forum for us to say what it is that we can put in that plan, so that as we start building, we'll be able to give what is necessary for a start. I think with your permission, we'll be able to look at it and see. I know what you had discussed during our International Women's Day. You had discussed of something different. Maybe this is the time for us to see whether that is the right thing or the act has to do something else. Thank you, Mr. Aweru.
No, before Aweru comes, I put Mpatu for that wonderful mercy. Now, before Aweru comes, I think it is also good to hear those people who really work hand in hand. And Wangu, please, just tell us something. Simama utueleze kitu hata kama ukitoka hapa bila wewe kuongea. Just come on. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So we work with survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, and the one thing that we've been lobbying for is actually a safe space or a shelter for survivors, whether men, women, or children, because one of the key priorities that we are working towards is actually protection. So we have response, where we have medical facilities and civil society organizations that are taking care of that, but we always miss a place to take survivors. And I can say this is a conversation that has started very far, and I am happy that we've planted a seed, and I'm hoping at some point into the future we are going to actually have 17 shelters around the Nairobi County, even as we work towards lobbying for other counties to set up shelters. And the reason why I'm saying that is, in 2020, we actually, as under Wangu Kanja Foundation, we handled 1,197 cases from March to December. And we saw a range of different violations. And the one that I can actually refer to is where, okay, two, where one is a man who was actually shot through a domestic violence incident, and at some point when we discharged him from Kenyatta, we actually needed to look for a place to have him for a while as he recuperates, but also as we try to look for alternative ways to safeguard him. Because remember, he was shot, then we needed to report, and we also needed to follow up his case. And for that to happen, the person needs to be in a safe space to help him get rehabilitated, but at the same time for protection in terms of the threats and intimidation that people face when they are pursuing cases in court. The other one is actually a rape ordeal that happened in Dandora, where a lady was shot in the midst of a robbery, and she needed protection because then the thugs were not apprehended at that particular time. So I'm looking at this particular infrastructure as a very key component of ensuring that we are safeguarding Kenyans, but also people will have the trust and the confidence that if I start pursuing my case, then I have protection mechanisms in place. And I'm hoping as we continue into the future, we are going to have many safe spaces and shelters, because it is a key and urgent need for survivors of sexual violence. And thank you, Esther, for initiating this process in Nairobi, and hopefully we are going to have many more. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Those are wonderful words that could just go seated in a chair. But I want to thank God that you've now aired them out. Mheshimiwa, I remember when Mheshimiwa took the entire team that works with her in Mombasa, and we went round and we saw the county giving a place for a safe house to the groups. We were very, Mom was very much, and she came back, started crying. How can we struggle looking for a place to put a safe house while the county can do it? Now the directors are here and they have done it. We want to thank you so much, the Nairobi City County. This is the way it should go. Now, before the architecture, we also have the chairman of GAF. This chairman of GAF is the one, is the committee that Mama sits with, of over 20 people. And they are the people who discuss anything happening in the entire county in the Women Reps office. I'm Mr. Jared Aminga, please, if you want to say something before we call them.
Yes, morning everyone.
Morning.
Yeah, thank you, Mheshimiwa, our patron, our friends from NMS. My name is Jared. I'm the chairman of the committee for Nairobi County. I come from Embaka South constituency, which is 80% slum living. And we have rampant cases of GBV in that constituency. This project is a project which we have been trying to implement since 2018 when we came into office. We tried to partner with the county government then, but we didn't have, I'd say, goodwill from the leadership at that time. But now that we have goodwill from the leadership at the moment, as the county committee, this is a project we already agreed that should be funded. So it's not that we're going to discuss it at the committee level. At the committee level, it's already approved by the county committee of Nairobi. What we need now is for us to work together to get the proper documentation so that now we can forward the project to the national committee, committee for final approval. We are looking forward to partner with you guys so that we can have this project implemented before June next year. We should have the safe house running. Thank you so much.
Good. So he sits at the far end Well, others sit down. And he has people from the entire Nairobi. Now we also have the Gulf County Coordinator. And the county coordinator is the one who sits and now makes sure the funds are there and we move on. Madam Charity is the one controlling Nairobi. We can't leave this sitting without you talking and telling us how you are and how is your kitty. Please welcome.
Thank you, Pastor. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yeah, I'm excited to be here this morning to do a project that also as the office will be so proud of, because I'm sure 80% of the GBGs are women, so it will be a good thing to support women. GAF basically is a fund for women, youths and people dealing with disability, and so since this project will be catering 70% of the women, I think it's a good project, it won't have any issue. And then I'm so happy that this time around we have goodwill from the county government, from the NMS, because I'll be requiring documentation. This is a project that will have a lot of documentation, so we'll keep in touch so that we can provide all the documentation to make sure that the national board approves it and we don't have any issue. And I think we'll have to restructure the drawings. I think my boss will talk about that. Let's do a proper safe house that can accommodate many people and not only 20. That way it will have impact. Instead of building a house that will accommodate only 20 people, we can do something that maybe can cater for even 100. So my boss will talk about that. Then another thing, there's a paper that was going around. I'll request that all of you sign for me your attendance, because we'll be refunding your fare that you used to come here. So the paper that was going around, kindly sign it, everyone, to make sure that they've signed it. Then I'll be talking to you through your M-Pesas, because you'll have put your phone number there. Thank you.
Yes, something is there. So after here, there is something.
Now, tumupigie tu makofi ya mguu.
Very good. Thank you so much. You had to talk. And now we are so grateful that you've also, please check on that paper, because if you don't sign, something may not come into your M-Pesa from Charity. Now, Mheshimiwa, I want now to invite Mr. Waweru, because after Mr. Waweru has explained to us what is in store, then we will now invite you to wrap it up. So, karibu sana Mr. Waweru. Karibu sana. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Director. Now, my role is very simple. I come here as a machine because I take instructions from you, my client. So mine is just to implement what you guys want. All the homework has been done by you. Mimi ni kuniambia jenga nyumba mahali fulani ikiwa hivi ni wa guide. So that's why I'm saying I'm already a computer. But now a computer also needs some feeding. Now this is what we were lacking when Mercy and I embarked on this project. I remember Mercy calling me, telling me she has a site in Runda, gave me a contact in Runda. I went there, the contact was not there, but she delegated. Now there was a major problem where we were. I could not tell the extent of the land. Number two, to bring it to some point. Nikakwambia, no, it cannot happen that way, because we have more land and this one looks like it's growing in itself. You see the old people's home is growing. And the lease, but however that one is a problem we can resolve now. So what is essentially I need from you is this, what I would call a brief formulation. How much land do we have, and how much land are we going to give to the safe house? Then the next one is the budget. At that time, I think there was a budget in your section, which was quite limited. At that time, if I can remember, you had about 200,000 for that. Is it? So what you had was about 200,000 for that year. For the safe house. Yeah?
We have 18.7.
Now you have graduated to 18. At that time, you say that you had only about an allocation of about 200,000. Then, what time frame do you need? How soon do you need this? When do you want it delivered?
Like yesterday.
Like as soon as possible.
Then the administration of the project. The administration of the project, you are a special lot now. Because you are in gender, there is youth and what have you. Now, how do you want to administer your project? This I mean from the public procurement. Do you want to do it by women? Do you want to do it by youth? Or do you want to do it as a general project? That is, you float the tenders as normal. Or do you want to help one of your own? Now, we have also to go to site and demarcate the land.
Excuse me, just go back to the
Administration of the project. You see now, at the public procurement, there are some projects that are set apart for you, for women and general. Yeah, all for the disabled. Yeah. So you have to also identify. If you are doing it all at a go, the figures she's talking about, now it becomes a general project. But you can also subdivide it such that you can help your own. I mean, if your case is women, you can demarcate it. What I mean to say, you can have the main building done by the main contractor. But if it's landscaping, now you can decide. Landscaping, we do a separate project, be done by women, or youth, or the disabled, etc. So you can demarcate within the project itself. Tuko pamoja?
Yes.
Tuko pamoja mkabana?
Mkabana tu hapo, lakini nataka kujua what does that entail in terms of time frame?
No. It can run simultaneously.
Okay.
You can advertise the tender simultaneously. If you look at our tenders, most of the time, we advertise one tender for construction, main construction of building. Then we, in the same simultaneously. I do not mean the same contract, but within the same advert. Sawa sawa. Tuko pamoja?
Yes, sir.
Then we have to secure the land. We have to know, are these people, your survivors as you are calling them, are they secure among the old peoples? So do we have a specific piece of land for them? Then do we demarcate? Not necessarily by having beacons and what have you, but maybe a fence or something like that. So we have to identify the land itself. And then the level of accommodation. Now, the level of accommodation, I mean to say, is it luxury, like the one I have proposed here, about 4 people sharing one bathroom? Or do we have like a school dormitory, where we have bathrooms at the one end, yeah, showers at the far end, laundry at the far end, or at another end, and what have you? So, exactly you have to define. Now, when we were discussing with Mercy, she had told me it's just a residential house. So the house I have now, right now, I would not say is the most successful, in the sense that it is very difficult to expand. You may have to do, if you want another 20, you have to do another house similar to that one, which is not very economical, because we are not sharing services. Then, how long do these people stay? The survivors. How long do they stay in that place before they are released? Why is that necessary? That is necessary because I want to know how many of them I can accommodate in one room. If these are guys just coming in for a week or 2, yeah, then we can house them in one. But if they are long term, then we can have a wing for long term. Tuko pamoja? Then, which is the most economical? Mine would be the dormitory type. Mine would be the dormitory type, but with common social facilities like the sitting room, the dining, and Are they going to cook themselves, or are we going to employ cooks for them? This is a safe house, isn't it? Once they are there, they all have the same problem, isn't it? To some extent.
Yes.
So I guess they want to be together, and therefore I don't see the need for employing a cook or a round-trip person. In my view, I'm not in the department, yeah, but that's the way I want to. We have rescued them from some point, isn't it? And we want to bring them to a home, isn't it? So the cooking, the normal duties should be them. I don't know. You'll tell me that. Yeah? Now, while they are there, what are they going to be occupied? Other than waking up in the morning, doing their laundry and what have you, what are they going to do for the rest of 12 hours? Are they going to be trained in some way? Are they going to be introduced, say, to some kind of skills? Or are we going to export them to where we have other skills? Because the tragedy of the government is we keep repeating. We may have a TVET institution next door. But once we now start saying we want to do a safe house in Runda, we find that we also want to do our own TVET within it. If there could be a dressmaking institution next to it. Yeah? Ama wale hawako wamemaliza shule, they started a primary school, so they can be joined there. Yeah? So that kind of thing. So how do we occupy them over the period they are in this institution? And what other activities can we provide for them? Other than say, we want to occupy them by training them. But now, how about other activities like entertainment and what have you, and keep fit? Yeah? That one we can accommodate. But let us also be sure that we are not repeating, because Nairobi City County, as it is, also has other institutions surrounding it. And they are within striking distance, maybe walking or even a matatu distance, what have you. Then, are we going to be fully self-contained? Are we going to create our own ablutions, administration block, parking, and what have you? Those kind of things also contribute to the cost of the building. And that is what we need to come out of this meeting knowing. Tutademarcate, tutajenga fence, ama tutajenga a hedge. Yeah? Do we have our own visitors? Do we have a visitors area? Ama they'll come and join the others in their sitting room and what have you. Yeah? Then of course, how much money do we want to spend? Of course, the money can only be given in a specific period. But now, whatever money is allocated, let us not be over ambitious. Even if we can only do one room and complete it, please let us agree to find a room to complete na iwe in use. If we get some more money, let's keep expanding. But let's not start something that will come at the foundation. From my experience, those are now what we keep calling pending bills and unfinished projects. So, if you are specific unto the budget, come to us, tell us, tujenge, okay, we have the master plan, 20 rooms, accommodating 100 people, but we can only afford one this year. Tuifanye, tuimalize. Then, I understand also men were supposed to have been included in this one. Now, Mercy, you never mentioned that. You have only mentioned it from that time. So now, do we have two wings? Yeah? Because here is a case, I think violence cuts across, from the youngest person to the oldest person. Yeah? Therefore, we are talking about very able people. So we'll have to have wings. And where do they meet? Are they ever going to meet? So that was something that you now have to tell us. Then medical facilities. The only thing I would advocate here is only maybe an overnight, say, medical facility. Say like I want to isolate a person. Otherwise, I would not include medical facilities in such an institution. Because we already have a health center within that. Then these people, I don't know whether they are still pursuing cases.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So we need to give a space for the police and maybe lawyers and something like that. How do they do it?
We need counseling rooms, we need case managers rooms.
Yeah.
We'll need counselors rooms, we need case managers rooms for specifics. And then we need a lounge where we can do group therapy.
Group therapy.
And then we need it disability friendly.
Which complicates things really.
Yeah. Even as we are looking at the...
Yes, it really does. Mukabana, because the most economical way is to go up, isn't it? The most economical use of land is a town. Yeah? And now when you tell me about disabilities, yeah?
I think for what I'm talking about disability friendly is just to ensure that we have a wing or accessibility on the ground where if we have a survivor who needs to be accommodated down, we can do that. We have like a small wing for that.
Yes, but not the whole facility. And then do we have a separate administration for this? Or are we using the administration that is already there?
A separate one.
We'll need a separate one because here, as I had
they are not related.
As I had mentioned, you know,
who owns the old person's home? The county.
It's still the same department, but my thinking is that the person who manages the is not the same that is going to manage this.
And now, staff accommodation. Yeah?
Yes.
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 Do we give staff houses?
Yes.
Of course. Or do we just give?
Matron, just maybe the matron and then a case manager. Although they can be rotating because like in other safe houses what they do, the case manager works for a week, goes, so we can have it rotational. We can have a case manager, the administrator, and a matron, eh?
Yes.
Yeah. Those are the ones who will actually be accommodated.
So they will have actual houses where they stay?
Like a room.
Or is it
no, it's just like become a shul. Yes, like a school,
yeah.
But we need someone to sleep overnight.
No,
They must be there. Or how do you do the nini? The Mujiwaruma?
We have an house there.
We have houses, and we are actually
how many are there?
Extending.
There are quite a number.
And they are extending. See, we are doing duty houses.
We are doing duty houses.
Houses.
We are also proposing a private wing for the old persons. But I would also recommend maybe we have a duty house for the case manager.
The matron and at least 2 people. They need to
and case manager.
Yes, maybe. So we can have 3.
May I share a concern?
Yes.
One of my concerns will actually be the safety and security. So if you have too many things in one compound, how do you manage safety and security of the people that you're trying to protect? Because then there will be a lag, security lag, and if a person is a high target, then what it means is then you're exposing everyone else in that facility. Whether it's in the safe house or nyumba ya wazee, you're exposing them to insecurity issues.
And also, I'm thinking because it's nyumba ya wazee, we have to demarcate completely, either with a wall, because again, the issue of visitors. Because once in a while we do get visitors for nyumba ya wazee, but now for us as a safe space, unless we don't get visitors, unless
how about the children?
Even children when they come there, we
no,
don't,
if their mother is the survivor.
They stay there. They stay there.
No, not necessarily the ones that stay there.
Even the mother, if she's a survivor and she has come with the kids, we will accommodate. But
what limit of kids?
For now, we normally, you see, we can't limit the kids because we do not know what will happen to a survivor at what level. So what we do, and that is why the issues, we will need to look at the guidelines that govern safe spaces that we have, and how to go about them, because survivors come at any time, and they can come, anaweza kuja peke yake asije na watoto, but they can come with children. Then what do we do?
That's the very young children, isn't it?
They can come very young children below the ages of
below 18.
Below 18. Yes. They will be accommodated within.
Yes.
Then that was never communicated. So if we were to look at this, whatever I have, then in this event I might as well trash what I have, and then you take my notes, rewrite them again, then we start afresh.
Actually, I like your
Can I bring the meeting to order? We're going to have this discussion where we're going to throw at each other what we need and what we don't need. And I really appreciate the architect trying to make us understand that he needs to understand what exactly we need. So what I would like is for him to continue his presentation where he actually takes us through his drawing. The drawing that he had when he had his original brief. All the things that you're saying right now are making him also relook his drawings, including the fact that we might have PWDs that have been abused and they need a safe space. All right? Yes. And then we also have the Makueni visit that we have to agree, when are we going to Makueni? Yes. All right? So that we can also look at the questions that we had to ask and the budget that we have and the drawing that we had, Makueni where it is, and then what will be the best suited. And remember all this, and that's why today was just for us to get to know each other. Yes. All right? Because my GAF team did not really know the other team. I basically knew the other team. I knew Jane, Pamela knew the team, I know Wangu, I know Roslyn, but the GAF committee does not know the team. So what is important is this is a big project that we want to be successful. We don't want just to have a project. We want to have a project that works, and that's why we've got Wangu Kanja here actually representing the survivors of sexual offenses. All right? So what I would like is, Waweru, I think you should take us through your drawing so that we look at what exactly did you have in mind. Because I've seen your drawing, and I have to say, I was quite impressed. You thought through everything. But the problem is, I'm looking at the volume. You worked with a budget of 20 million. We have provided 50 million, right? We know that we will need beds, we will need beddings, we will need certain things. That we don't want just a house and then we don't have beds. And we realized that when we did the police container projects. We came up with the containers, with the toilets and the bathrooms. Nobody thought, what about the beds, the furnishings? Yeah. So we need a budget for that. And now when I'm looking at this conversation so far, we have a problem in that we have land that we're going to go and see. That's part of our agenda today, right? That we have land, but it seems like this land has many users. So the first thing we should do is to put out a tender to put the perimeter wall, so that we know that this is the land and the beacons. You know, you're saying you don't even know where the land starts and where it ends. So when we go to this place, we want the county government to actually tell us that this is the acreage. You have 1 acre for the safe house, you have half an acre for the safe house, whatever they tell us, and then it starts from here, it ends here, it ends here, it ends here. This is the entrance. Once we know that, I think the first thing we need to do, even before we start building the safe house, is to have the wall. And the wall for me is clear. Yes. Yeah, the demarcation as you call it. So what I would like is, so that we don't start going round, right? We look at the drawings that Waweru came up with, the architect Waweru came up with, when he was given his original brief. And then the brief moved from 200,000 to 18 million. And I'm liking the fact that you're saying, oh, we have 18 million. I'm wondering, is it your own 18 million or is it my 18 million? Because from what I get that you had no money. So you're giving the land, we're giving the money. And there's one person who has not been introduced, who is our legal officer. So Waweru, what is important is that the county government also gives us their legal person. When we expand this team, because we're going to grow this team till in the end we have a good team where everybody is represented, all hands on deck. Our lawyer is here. She's supposed to be able to put an MOU together. But the MOU has to include the lawyers of the county government. So that when we come up with an MOU, which we're going to take now to the county secretary to sign, because nothing can go on until the county secretary and myself and GAF have signed the MOU. And we are hoping that in the next 2 months we'll have an MOU. All right? And then you're the architect. For me, I want to see what your drawing was based on your original brief. Your brief might change, right? Because now the budget, I've told you what we've budgeted for, and we need to make sure we have the furnishings. all right? We need a perimeter wall, okay? We need to, you clearly said we need the space, right? Then I also like the idea of special interest groups. As GAF, we also would like to put something for AgPro. So we want you to tell us, from that budget, the main structure can be the main contractor, which we're going to open tender, but this landscaping, we can budget for this, these furnishings, we can budget for this, this perimeter wall, we can budget for this, and then we give the special interest groups, which this tender will be reserved strictly for women, for youth, or for PWDs. I like that. So I think this discussion, the whole idea of this breakfast is because I realize we've hit a dead wall. We're not moving forward. So the idea was everybody in the room to be hands on deck, okay? And I think the day we can actually have something to celebrate is the day we actually saying, this is the parcel of land, these are the beacons that have been put for this particular project, and then the perimeter wall, now we are ready to roll. Because when we're going to go there today, I have a funny feeling that I won't be able to see where my safe house is going.
No,
and
we need to identify ourselves. We will be
yeah, so and that's why we have Wangu Kanja. And as soon as we finish these deliberations, which I hope we will clear in 45 minutes, we're heading towards the site. Yes. And then we're going to have another meeting where the same team will go to Makueni. All right? And also we have to find a way, how we're going to pay for this, how we're going to budget for this. All right? Am I going to use Civic? So we go to Makueni, because we need to do that. All right? And then we need to have a sense of public participation. And the public participation, we have to have a meeting where we're going to present everything to the survivors. All right? Because we cannot do it for them without them.
Sure.
All right? So there's so many stages, and we need to make sure in our minutes we capture these stages. So because right now I notice we're all throwing in things, right? I want you to take us through your drawings. And then when we finish with Makueni, right, which we will do Makueni before the end of this month, right? And we understand also the journey of Makueni and how is it running and how many people are they occupying, right? Because I saw what Wangu Kanja said. She had 1,000. We need to understand how many survivors are being housed in Nairobi at any one given time. Like for instance, right now, what is the capacity of Nairobi's privately run and privately owned safe houses? Government is trying to put its hand in something, and this is government money. So if they are housing 200 people on average a day, right, then we know that Nairobi can be divided into 4. We do the first safe house based on the way it's going to be filled up, right? Then the next safe house, then the next safe house, then we have 4. Eventually we'll have 1 in every constituency. But I hope that we will deter crime and sexual gender-based violence will go down, so we have less and less use of more safe houses, we have more empowerment projects. Right now, the safe houses that we have, like Mary Faith, etc., and the one that we have of Shofco, one of the things that we want is our partnership will be tripartite. Yes. Why? For sustainability. So we're going to, and that's why we have Wangu Kanja here. We're going to have the civil society, we're going to have Nairobi County, and we're going to have GAF. And you have to remember, GAF is now government, the executive, because in the event that the BBI passes, right, Women's Rep Office will no longer exist. All right. So if that doesn't exist and GAF doesn't exist, where does GAF go? Because we need to know that GAF is putting up the structure, but the sustainability will be handed over to Nairobi County government and the civil society. All right, or the survivors network. Okay, because we need to continuously raise money. Right. So I think Waweru, we appreciate the fact that you had a brief with a limited budget, right? And now you've heard about PWDs. And we've talked about the TVET. We have to look at what are the nearest TVETs to this place, what is the nearest police station to this place. And what I'd like is to see what was your drawing and what did your drawing cater for. Because once they appreciate your drawing, because I've seen you are going to, we're thinking and we're all throwing things, but Waweru is going to put it together for us. So what did he put together? He's already put in a lot of work, and I was very impressed with what you've done. So I want you to take us through what you did. It might not be what we need, but it's a good starting point for us to critique and for us to learn. You might even have put something that we didn't even think about. And then from there, when we finish with now you've got a revised budget, when we finish with our tour to Makueni, we will sit down again here. And then we will now finalize everything. And then we bring in all the senior members of the various institutions to now come in and do and do the proper MOU. Yeah. So one of the key things is Wendy needs to meet the legal person at City Hall to see what kind of MOU drafts you'll have going forward, so that everything is moving at the right pace. And touring the land for me and getting the beacons and getting the space, knowing what is the acreage, is key to how we're putting our 50 million. And then, you know, so I think it's important that you take us through your drawings, because I've seen them. They've catered for quite a number of things, but 20, you know, land efficiency is going up. And that will be determined by whether we're going to visit. This team will visit TVET, okay? And why will we do that? To see what will TVET offer our survivors, all right? Because if you're a woman that was raped and sodomized by your husband, right, you need now to end that marriage. Now, if you're going to end the marriage and the husband was the breadwinner, you need to have an income generating activity so that you can continue with your life. So I think it's important that we understand that it's not a short-term thing, but it's not a forever thing either. Yeah. So please, maybe you can wind up from where you were, but I just felt everybody was just throwing things at Waweru, and he needs to just take us through his drawings and tell us which way forward as we move on, and that will be determined after we've come back from Makweni.
And also we have the support of NMS funding.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have some money.
Yes, actually the word I was told is whatever they decide, we will support in building. Whichever. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now from the brief Mercy and I developed. So I came up with literally what we would call a residential house. It has an entrance. Now the entrance in this case comes from the car park. For those who are familiar with the layout of that area. Mm-hmm. And next to this site, there is a cow shed. Is it a cow shed or I think it's a cow shed. Yes. Now,
a cow shed?
Yes, they have cows there. Oh. They do some farming. It's a large farm.
Who does the farming?
The Mujiwahuruma people. They have, I think, cattle and sheep. Yes. And they do some organic farming.
Okay.
Cattle, sheep are not there.
Yeah?
It's cattle.
Sheep are not there.
It's cattle.
Yes, cows.
And that organic farm.
Then,
then, on entering, I had a very large dining. Now, this dining space was actually not necessarily for dining, but this is where they would also meet their visitors. So, essentially, it was dining and office. Then, next to it is a large kitchen. Now, this kitchen, I assumed, these are people on rescue. They're not mad people. They're not children, not necessarily children. So I would want to imagine that they were going to go in there, make their meals at their own time. I don't know.
Maybe just a point.
Yes.
Maybe as we proceed, when we went to Mujiwahuruma with our Waziri, our county executive committee member, there is a space which we identified, and when we go, you shall see that place, because we are saying that instead of them mixing up with the old people, then we give them a separate place. It's Ikohapo below, next to the health center. So we shall see it.
Yes, but my own house was my own house.
Okay.
It was not related. The only thing we were sharing with those, with the old people, is only the car park.
Okay.
So these guys are totally independent.
Okay.
So that's why I was saying these people are on rescue. They are fit people, isn't it? So I imagined that they would not need a cook, but they would rather go in there, make their own meals at their own time. I don't know. I don't know how you manage them.
Okay.
Then there is the lounge for their own use. Then there was a manager somewhere. I can't read this, I can't read this from this close. What is it?
It's all counseling.
Yes, that is the one she was talking about.
Office and counseling.
Yes, office and counseling. Then, on this end, I think I had been told that we required a caretaker. That's when I had put in a caretaker there. Yeah? And now not one, but maybe two.
So this is
staying in this room.
Not the survivors. The survivors are upstairs.
The survivors now come upstairs. Upstairs, now you find their television room. And then there was a space, which is storage actually, next to the TV room. This storage was for it was compartmentalized, yeah, such that people can have their own lockers where they can store their things. So, and it was under lock and key. Then there was a bedroom. This bedroom can take either 2 or 3 deckers. But from what I noticed from the existing facility, that is from the old people's home, hygiene was not very good. So I thought that if you give them a toilet within themselves, they will certainly, take care of it. You do not need an external person to come take care of it. So that is why I made all the bedrooms a bit kind of self-contained. So that can also take 4 deckers. This one 4 deckers, the other one 4 deckers. That is what I had.
Yes, Mr. Moreno.
Yes.
I was trying to see this because we are now understanding the volume that we are hearing is happening. Immediately the safe house is opened, it will be overwhelmed. I wanted you to also check in your thinking. You know how classrooms are built, right? Down there are offices of the classroom and also a hall where people can sit, and then you go up. So because of the people with disability, there can also be a section down where they can enter, because we need this safe house to be safe. Then up there now, because you have talked about there is space up there, as we continue, the money that we have will end up maybe into ground and another building, and we can still continue up. That is what I was thinking also in your planning, so that if we go to first floor, then we can have many rooms that can carry so many deckers, all right? A room on the other side, a room on this side. Those are 4 deckers, 4 deckers, 4 deckers, 4 deckers, 4 deckers, like that. And at the end of those deckers, of those rooms, we have the bathroom and also the toilets of either side.
The dormitory style.
Yeah, the dormitory style. So that when we are now talking, these people, they are not coming here to live forever. They are just being there for a period of time. And now when everybody will hear that there is a safe house in Runda, anything that will happening there running to the place, then we will be overwhelmed if we just have a room like this one. So I was thinking that maybe, like Mheshimiwa is saying, she may not be there next time, or if she's there, it will be okay. And maybe the city council, the county government may need to expand, but it is good to expand as it goes up. So we can put the roof, but leaving a chance of going up maybe in future.
That's the tragedy of public buildings. You may have a budget today.
Yeah.
Umejenga mpaka ground floor.
Yes.
You have only accommodated a hall and a few rooms for the disabled.
Yes.
No. But now you want to do something else next year. Where do you move these people? Yeah. The ones who are accommodated on the ground, where do they move to? Because it is, number one, it's illegal for you to extend a building when there are people living in there.
Yes.
Naona sasa. So you have put so much, so on the ground floor. But now next year you want to expand upstairs. So, and considering the law, now you'll have lost the space, or you simply stop usage of that building until the other one is done. That one we can do anyway.
Yeah, because
then one other thing, the government from the housing point of view does not work on a particular project when it's repeating. What I mean to say is you may need a safe house in the Ruta. You need another one in his constituency in Bakassi, and you need another one in Kayole. Kayole happens also to be Bakassi. So another one in another area. So we tend to standardize things. If you look at the dispensary in Riruta, and you go to Kayole Health Center, Kayole 1 or 2, you'll find that they are the same building. So in this case, I think this is the chance now we have to create that standard building for safe houses.
Yes.
So such that next time we are expanding it or we are repeating it elsewhere, yeah, we don't have to come back to this brief. All I have to do is to go back to my cabinets and then adopt that particular building for a specific site. Tuko pamoja? So the health center in Riruta, if you look at Riruta Health Center and you look at Kayole 2 Health Center, the accommodation is the same. The only differences come in how accommodated on site. So,
Mheshimiwa, I was thinking also, you know, a safe house of these people should not be where people live, because that is now the tragedy ya kwamba watu wameshakimbia pale na nani, Madam Mkabana said that people want to go in because you've taken my wife already to that place and I can see that place and I'm suffering. What will happen? It should also be somewhere a little far and it is a place of its own. I think as we continue,
that's a matter of now for the
as we continue thinking.
That's a matter for the administration.
Yes.
Let us now deal with the building first.
Yes, Director.
Now, as what the sentiments, the county has land.
Yes.
Not only Runda.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you go to Wai,
yes,
we are doing a project there for the student children. Reaching there, it may take you time, but it's around 40 acres. And the one which has been occupied now is around 1.5 acres, where we are constructing that complex of the student children, the school, the primary schools, even the nursery school, even these tertiary courses, so it is all there. If we come up, this is like a test in Runda. In the future, if we ask the county government to give land for the same, it will work. It will work. So let us not be saying that there is no land, there is no what. This is the land of the government, and if there is a proposal of doing this, the government is not there to sell or what. It is to give the services to the citizen, and this is the citizen we are fighting for. What is there again, Madam, what have you said about security at Muchiwaruma? Actually, they had started the perimeter wall. It reached on the way, you know what we call the lane, the bureaucracy. The contractor was not paid the whole amount according to the stages he was going. So it's almost a half. It was done a half of it. So in that, maybe we'll go back and say what happened. They completed it. Another thing in the security, before even we identify even the post of the police or the police itself, the county government will give security because they have the askaris. In the meanwhile, before we go into another thing. So that's what I wanted to comment about the security of the place. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to visualize. If you're going to have, let's start with the end product. Assuming we want to accommodate 200 people, we will need a dormitory kind of setup where we have common rooms, which is kitchen, dining, laundry, toilet, and bathrooms. We will also need to identify which is the one group that we want to deal with? Is it women and children and then have a small section for men, or are we dealing with women only? Because also that helps in setting up the rooms. Rehabilitation programs and also duration is also a factor, because while you're having men there being taught on livelihoods, what will be the women doing on this side, or what will be the children doing on the other end? Because if we work with the end product and then work backwards, I think it will make your work easier to visualize what the group envisions, and then also factoring issues of safety, security, stigma, and then the services to be provided under the administration block. Who are we going to have, and how many people are we going to have, and how will we envision, if it's counseling rooms, how many counseling rooms are we going to have? If it's livelihoods, how many sections or how many skills are we going to provide? Because then that makes it easier to work backwards. Because if we start, we have land, we have this amount of money, then we are not looking at the final product.
Yes, just a moment, Mheshimiwa. Actually, that, you see, you did your role very well. You came up with this figure of 1197. And that, your role ends there. You see, now what you're talking about now should be coming from the director at that table. They are the ones who should be telling us, yeah? For purposes of a dormitory, we need this much. For purposes of toilets, we need this much. The number of kids coming in, yani infants coming in with the survivors, are this much. The men are this many. So essentially, Mr. Director, your table should be that one. Yeah? Such that you give us now the figures. I said Mia, I'm on their machine.
Yes.
I just consumed the figures. She gave us her figures of 1197 of our period of March to December last year. Isn't it?
But that's just one institution.
And that is only one institution.
You know, I think Rosaline is not here, but Nairobi County must have data, or the police, and we have to involve the police in our next meeting, must have data on how many PWDs, how many children, how many adolescents, how many women, how many men, all right, have been sexually abused and are survivors of sexual gender-based violence. When they give us that data and we say that our structure is going to be 100 rooms, then based on the figures that we have, preferably over a period of 3 years, so that you can look at the mean, then we will be able to cater for our drawings and, you know, guide Waweru on the drawings that we need. Do you have the data, all right, on how many PWDs, how many children, adolescents, women and men were violated or are survivors of sexual offenses over the last 3 years? Do you have that data? Because if you have that data, right, whether we're getting the data from Shofco or we're getting it from Mary Faith, you know, we have, you know, Mary Faith specializes in children, but they, you know, we need to compute all this data, and that's why I'm saying a public participation where we include survivors and we include the institutions that are already providing safe spaces, because what we're doing is we're complementing them. Most of them are already they don't have capacity anymore. So they would also want to know that we are partnered with Nairobi County, and if we need extra beds, we can send, or we need somebody to be moved from here because the family has already found out that they are here. You know, that's what they do. They ship them around different safe houses. You will find one day the Nairobi County safe house will probably send somebody to Mary Faith because they realize that the family of the perpetrator already knows that this child or this woman or this man is here. So that is why we're saying all of us have to be involved together. But I think when I was looking at your drawings, architect, balconies are a no-no for a safe house, for a simple reason that majority of the people who've been sexually abused are depressed. And you give them a balcony is like giving them a platform to go and commit suicide. All right, so we cannot have balconies. And balconies are also a place where somebody can access, you're giving more entry points to people accessing the safe house. So balconies are a no-no. I liked what Pastor Lumumba said. You know, the way I'm looking at it, and I also appreciate what you said, that you cannot start a project and then tomorrow you say you want to expand it. So let us look at this project as one to complete. We know that there's 40 acres of land in Ruai. If this particular safe house is done properly, then it will inform the safe houses in the future. Okay, so I'm saying that what we need is a dormitory style where you have your entrance, you have your dormitory style. So we know PWDs cannot go up, so they'll have to be housed on the ground floor. All right, that's one. Now, if you have the first floor, you have to have adolescents on one side, you have to have women on one side. If I'm a woman and I've been violated, the last thing I want to see is to see men who've been violated also on the same space. So men have to be also on another level. All right?
Is it another level or a separate building?
No, it's no. It's another. No, the safe house. The safe house we're going to have is going to accommodate everyone. So we don't know at the moment what we're going to have. So I think on both sides of the dormitory, right? On both sides of the dormitory, if you're housing women here, but you don't have enough men, there should be a section where you can say we can put the men on the third floor or the second floor because we've got more women, so women will occupy this floor. All right, or we've got more adolescents, or we've got more children. Children now are occupying with their mothers. They're not on their own. So you have a child who's been violated, she's going to be there with her mom. You have a teenager who's been violated, she's going to be there probably with also her mom, and probably with also the counseling. Then you've got a woman, then you've got a man, then you've got PWDs. Because there's nobody who, by the way, there's nobody who's spared when it comes to violation. You've got them targeting mentally challenged. So mentally challenged, we'll end up with a lot of mentally challenged and physically disabled people that have been abused. So Rosaline, while you stepped out, we were asking, over the last 3 years, are you able to compute the data that shows how many PWDs, children, adolescents, women or men have been sodomized? And in which areas of Nairobi, all right? If we have data for the last 2 to 3 years, that will inform, if we're putting a safe house, and we know that 10% of our cases are PWD, then we will have 10% of our accommodation catering for PWDs. If we have 20% being men, we will cater 20% for men. If we have adolescents, 30%, we cater 30%. But we want to have some kind of basis that informs our decision before the public participation. So are you able to give us some kind of data?
And we can get data of the ones that have been attending our facilities. I will have to deal with it. I will have to get to the shelters, just find out how many they have been able to shelter. But I know last year as a county, we were able to see 5,560 survivors of sexual violence. And out of the 5,560, we had about 260 who were those living with disabilities. And then we had half of the 5,000 were children. And out of that, now we need to know how many were sent to the rescue centers. Because I know at the moment as I'm talking, we have the centers all around Nairobi are hosting about 180 survivors.
So let us find out
today.
At the moment, yes.
So let us find out exactly what is the makeup of that. Yes. And then maybe, because we're going to put a WhatsApp wall, you can share that makeup with us. Also share the list of all the people who are running shelters, because in our public participation, we would want them on board. All right? But that data will be able to inform Waweru on how to split the various accommodation, because now he knows he has to cater for PWDs, and they will be on the ground floor. On the one hand, you can have the reception area, the kitchen area, the lounge area, but on the other hand, you'll have the PWDs, the accommodation for the PWDs, and then when we go up, adolescents and children with their matrons sleeping on both sides. Okay, and then when you go even further, you have the women, and then even further the men. So we're looking at a structure that you might not go too high because of budget in terms of foundation, but here if you're having women on the left, you're having men on the right, or you're having adolescents and then men right at the top. And if it's not occupied, if we don't have that many men, we should be able to clearly demarcate that, okay, we have more women, so we're going to divide the men's section so that half is going to be men and half is going to be women. Without making the women feel that they're in the space where they're being dealt with men who, if a woman has been gang raped by 7 men, the last thing she wants to see is another man on the same floor with her.
Not on the same floor, maybe even in the same compound.
Yes, that is the challenge.
So I want to totally separate them. Maybe director here can direct. I want to separate them.
We don't have a budget to build 2 safe houses.
In fact, if we are going to house ladies in Runda, let us house the men in Coyote.
You see, the problem is right now we want to create a safe space for every gender and every bracket. And I believe that even in Shofco, they must, do they only deal with women?
No, they don't. They only deal with women and children.
Women and children. Is
Most
there
of the safe houses that we have?
Women and children. But you know, we are also having quite a few. Remember, there was that case in Kibra where the boy was sodomized, and at that particular point, he probably needs some kind of intervention. And we're doing these police containers. We've recognized that there are 2 genders. So we actually have said this: one section is men, one section is women and children. So I think we should, the same way you're doing the PWD, I think at one point, at one section upstairs, right, we should cater, we should allow for a separation of sorts if we have any male survivor, where maybe even the entrance for the male survivor can be different, and from the inside it's closed. Now I'm thinking aloud. So you have the staircase for male survivors with one entrance, with one door, so that if we do have male survivors, they come in through the reception, everything, but they go upstairs through the back, which can act as a fire exit as well, but you close it completely from the staircase on the inside, so that the male are in a separate wing altogether, is so completely separate from the women. You know, we are talking, and we will go to Makweni and see what Makweni does, right? But our data should also inform us on whether we actually need a safe space for men too.
We do need. We need. The thing is, when you're handling women and children and men, even when it comes to service provision and also skills building and rehabilitation, those are totally different programs that you need to run. And that's why we are recommending, can we identify a target group? Are we focusing on
every gender?
Everyone.
Every gender.
Then even in administration,
including a show, because we've seen that shows are also being violated. All right. So when you have a show, you have to put her on the same level with the mature women, right? Okay. But maybe on her own side, not with the women who've come violated themselves, or women who've come with their children violated. So I believe that the safe house, even if it's going to have 4 beds, right, there has to be 4 beds allocated for men who have been violated. But if we don't have a man, then those 4 beds can be used for women. So we could have a door that can be shut because we've occupied it with men, or we can have a door that can be opened because now we're filling it with women. Because if you have a safe space and you have a bed allocated to men, and there are no men that have come in, and you're getting more women or more children, you cannot leave the bed to be unoccupied. So this is the overall decisions will be made by the staff that will be there. Now, I think we've realized that we need some kind of, the staff housing that we have is not going to be separate to the construction. The people that will live on the premises will live with the children, will live with the men, will live with the women. So they will be living within the premises. So you'll have just like a dormitory where you, for instance, if you go to Moi Girls, you have a dormitory where the girls are sleeping, but you have a room at the beginning of that dormitory for the matron for that floor. So we will have to have it within the complex. When you talked about employees and food and whatever, can I tell you, there are 2 kinds of survivors that we'll be housing. We'll be housing a survivor who needs a place to stay because she's got a case or she needs counseling. And of course, they'll be determining whether it's going to be 6 weeks or 6 months, right? So the ones who will stay longer might help with the various cause chores that are required in the facility. But when they come to a safe space, they're basically looked after. But then, of course, I think Wangu, there's a way you give them duties so that they can stay mentally occupied. So, but there will be staff that come in during the day and go out during the evening. Yeah. There will be a cook, for instance, but then you cannot have all survivors going into the kitchen. You know, it will be a total chaos. So there will be the actual staff running the facility, and there will also be the various duties that everyone is given, like make your bed. You know, I've seen when I went to Shofco, they clean their room, they make their beds, they do that themselves. Why? Because you need to keep them occupied. It's not a facility where you do nothing. But if you're completely, for instance, if you were gang raped and you had too many scars, all right, and you had stitches and you're on crutches, of course, people will not expect you to do the work like the others. So this is it's the matron or the person who's running the place that will make those decisions. The important thing is to, another thing I wanted to tell you, you asked about timeline. We want to commission this safe house by March next year.
That is going to site?
Yeah, no, I mean complete, ready.
You want operational 2022,
yes.
March of 2022?
March, April 2022.
Then we have to come, then we have to stop theorizing.
We are not theorizing.
So far we have been theorizing. Yes. And you will agree with me if we've been theorizing. So let us now be Runda specific.
Yeah, we're Runda specific. We're
now
not
let us now be Runda specific.
Yes. Okay.
Let us say Runda specific, we want to accommodate, by this date of March 2022, yes. We want to accommodate 50 survivors with their children. So what facility do we now give?
Yes, but
within
the budget.
Within the budget.
And then also with the furnishing, yes. Because even though we've got commitment from UNFPA that they can give us furnishings, we'd like to cater for that as well. What I'd also like is for us to go to Makueni. So if we're going to go to Makueni, I'm hoping that we can tender this thing within the month of July. We can put the tenders out within the month of July. We can, at least for phase 1 or phase 2, okay? And we can have the wall. I want to look at the wall. We talked about a wall that is semi-complete and a contractor that was on site. If that wall serves us, because the safe house has to be having its own perimeter wall. The safe house has to have its own entrance. So it's important for us to go to the ground to see where is the entrance, where is the beacons for the safe house. Because once we know, and if there is an existing wall, then we can complete the wall around us. And we can very well work with the same contractor so we complete our section of it, you know. So things that we'll call for quotations. So I feel we don't want to end up starting and then we're getting to court with the contractor saying I was not paid, this was my job. So if the perimeter wall includes our area, we would rather sit with the contractor and agree to finish the wall so that we have our own entrance. You talked about sharing our parking. We cannot share parking with anyone. The safe house is independent of every other facility on the premises. Yeah. So I think we're just waiting.
Then now there is the administration of the project. These are two authorities. GAF.
GAF will not be administering. We're just constructing and handing over.
Constructing and handing over are completed.
Yes.
How about the county?
The counties, well, I hear the county NMS says it has some money. So based on what you're going to come up with, I'm going to end up having to sit with Major General Badi to see what is he able to put in. Will he put in the furnishings after we look at the whole? Okay, you know, so I'll sit with him.
As long as the two contracts are.
Yeah. We are tendering for the building. We're giving a building complete. When the building is complete, NMS will probably come in and furnish the place and equip, bring in the councillors and bring in the, you know, and then we're ready. We're ready on that particular day to receive our first survivors. Okay. And you see, we're also, by that time, we will have already completed our 17 containers where the police themselves will be bringing us the survivors. Because the 17 containers across the county are actually for survivors. You know, we're trying to bridge that gap where the survivors end up in the cells, so they're going to end up in these containers. So our container project will be open, and I'm going to make sure that we have one of the police stations nearer to Runda also with a container, so it can feed our safe house. Now, you know, I've noticed also we have two names: rescue center, safe house. So we need to agree whether it's a safe house or it's a rescue center.
It's a safe house. She made as per the guidelines.
Yeah, because I've been seeing rescue coming in. With your discussion. Safe house.
Safe house.
So it's a safe house. So we can plan Makueni visit. I will ask the governor whether she will make contact with her counterpart and be part of that tour. All right, and Janet Ouko. I mean, Janet, I don't know if she was informed by you, Jane, about this meeting, but I called her this morning.
Really?
Yeah. And she said she was committed, but she's aware and she'll most likely be there for our second meeting. And our second meeting will happen after Makueni.
Okay.
Our second meeting in Nairobi will happen after Makueni, but she's obviously welcome. I'll talk to her today and we'll agree whether she will make the connection with the governor for Makueni or will the GAF office do it. But we need to all go. And how will we be able to travel there? Are we going there for a day and we come back the same day? Or are we going for a day and we come back the next day? Those are all logistical issues that we need to figure out, and the costs.
And this one from Makueni, because of time, we should do it fast. And because we also have Waweru, Waweru can see also, then he makes also something for this place.
We can agree here.
I mean, I'm going to be out until the 21st of September, so anytime between the 21st and September, 21st of June and end of June is the time. We have to visit Makueni within the month of June, right?
So we can agree that last week of June.
Yeah. So unless we can go around for any other business.
Yes, but I'm not there yet.
I know.
I'm not there yet in the sense I have to have a building. I have to give you a key.
Yes.
22nd day of March. I'm there by March 2022. And now, so far you have not given me your money.
I'm not giving you the money.
Yes. Tell me how much you intend to spend on this.
50 million.
50 million.
Including the furniture.
That is everything.
Yes.
And that is why I would want Mheshimiwa's lawyers plus the NMS and the NCCG lawyers to sit down and agree, because NMS is also committing in some money.
Yes.
I wish they had given me the figure, I would say, but Madam Kagiri said we are full to go because Major General.
This is the way I would use it. I would use, if I were in your shoes, I would use my money this way. I would start straight with the building.
And the perimeter wall?
No. The perimeter wall costs a lot of money. And you end up with nothing. It will cost you 5 to 7 million shillings. And you end up with nothing. But now if you do the building itself, and then you go to Buddy and tell him, General, I don't have a wall around my facility. He will now do it.
You see,
so if you start with the building,
I think we have to do the same. We have to do this. We're going to have a meeting. I think we'll choose an ad hoc committee for which can go for meetings, which will include you. And I think we need to have a meeting with Major General Buddy, and I'll see if we can have that meeting immediately after we come back from Makueni. Because I don't want us to go before we've been to Makueni and we've seen what we really need, because that will inform how much more money we need. But make sure that your design includes a perimeter wall, because there's no way I'm building a safe house without a perimeter wall. Because without a safe, when it's not safe. So I have to make sure, I'd rather have less rooms, but have a perimeter wall that ensures that the people that are in that safe house are safe. Because the whole idea, you can't have a safe house in an open space.
But what I think, in our 2021-2022 budget, we have budgeted for the perimeter wall. But I think,
but is it for only the safe house or for the entire establishment?
For the entire. But what I'm thinking is, if we start, then we'll be forced as a county to do the.
I don't want to rely on that. We all have to. The MOU has to be specific. That the county is going to produce the wall, and I need to understand where is the piece of which is our section. How is our entrance? Because don't forget, if you have a wall around the whole thing, it does not keep my section safe. It means everybody's in one compound. The safe house is separate from everything else. And it has to have its own entrance.
That's like Wanwaweru is saying.
Yes.
Number one, Wanwaweru wants to know how much. So Wanwaweru, as GAF, we are giving 50 million.
Yes.
50 million is putting us at the building and the wall. That is number one. Number two, it's also furnishing. If the county government is having some money also that they are coming up with, they will also implement.
if you tell me that 50 million can only get me accommodation for 40, accommodation, and don't forget that your dining hall is too small. Imagine if the entire safe house is full. The dining facility has to be enough so that they can come down in turns to eat from the kitchen. So if we're going to have a safe house for 50 people, at any one time the dining hall should be able to feed 20 people at a go. So those are some of the things that we have to think about. But I don't want to invent the wheel. When we go to Makueni, we'll be seeing what have they produced and at what price. And then we will also be seeing how many people are they occupying and what are their challenges. Do you know, Makueni might actually show us that there are certain things that they did wrong that they wish they had done this way. So we will be avoiding the mistakes that they made and we'll be learning from their best practices. So that's why I'm saying that the visit to Makueni is important before you can finalize everything based on the data that Rosalind will give us, and also based on, so you work with my 50 million because I don't want to talk about NMS's money unless Buddy has committed. If Buddy tells me I've committed 20 million, then he will tell me which part of the project does he want to take. Does he want to take the perimeter wall and the furnishing, and then I could focus on the building? Are we together? So those are some of the things that we'll have to talk. But it all comes, because in the end, I think what you want, Waweri, you want to know that what is the amount of money you people want to spend. And if we tell you 30 million, you'll give us a drawing for 30 million. If we tell you 50 million, you'll give us a drawing for 50 million. If we tell you 70, you'll give us a drawing for 70 million. And then all this depends on the land space that we have. So, and that's why I think in the next 10 minutes or so, we should be heading out to the site. Do we have a GPRS for the site?
I think we can ask the person in charge there to drop a pin.
Yes, if we can drop a pin. Do we have a group already done for everybody that's here? Do we have a group for the safe house?
No, we don't have a WhatsApp group yet.
Yeah, we need a WhatsApp group so everybody's on page, which should have been started so that it adds everyone there. So that when we say we're giving each other half an hour to get there, right? So that all of us have to be on that side within half an hour, and we're going to spend not more than half an hour at the site as well, all right? So that we agree that this is the space. And you know, and we look at what is around, because I don't want to be told that this is your space and I see there's all kinds of activity going on there. The space has to be cleared, and yeah, and how soon will you have it cleared? And if it's cleared, it's even better. If it's not cleared, we have a problem. Yeah, so I want to see.
There is nothing
There's nothing there.
It's only maize. And the bean is maybe.
Okay, so we have to know when it's harvesting.
Yeah.
So we don't step on it. We've got public participation. We've got Makueni.
Let us go to the site.
Let us go to the site.
I was also thinking maybe now whether it is SDG that will take up the role of ensuring that the MOUs are signed, because I would want, much as Ngaf is giving the 50 million, let us get commitment even from the NMS through Kagiri.
I will try and have a meeting with Oluga.
Yeah. Or you can even call the technical advisor to the DG. Jane, I'll give you a call.
Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah.
Then because there's a commitment already on that, but we need to know exactly so that
what
again.
we can do is we can have the
that hoc team.
That small ad hoc team of 5 people can meet with Major General's team this week. Let's try and see if we can schedule a meeting on Friday. Yeah, or on Friday or Thursday, because I know we have parliamentary sitting, but let's schedule a meeting at NMS. So we can brief them on this discussion, and we'll have already seen the land and seen the challenges at the land, yeah?
I was commenting what you have said, about going to Makueni, going to Mujiwaruma. After we have combined those things and we have done the comparison with our drawings and what, and we have come now with the whole budget of the perimeter wall and what and what.
So that's when we should see the NMS.
Yes.
But I think it's important just to mention to NMS that we've had this meeting, which I will do and you will do, and I think they're aware. Just like the CCM, General Oko is aware that we're meeting as well today, because coming up with the final MOU, it has to clearly spell everybody's function. Yeah. And in the end, of course, we are handing over the building to Nairobi City County, because it's in your land. Your contribution is the land, the project is Ngaf. I mean, the money that is putting the facility together is Ngaf. Yeah, I wanted to ask you something, architect. I went to Moi Girls, and they had a structure. The boarding house was done by a Chinese technology, where everything is fabricated outside, and then it comes back and it's assembled very quickly. Are we looking at, based on the timelines? Can we have a way of constructing this safe house, since we want to go dormitory style or like, you know, much faster? Is it more economical to do it that way, where you come in and you just put in the slabs and you've got your structure? And apparently that is also easier if you want to go up. Have you been to Moi Girls and seen the dormitory?
Yeah, that is actually going back to old technology, which was very fast.
Yes.
Actually, most of the
Is it expensive?
I would not say it's expensive. The only thing that it's always right now is only limited to about 2 contractors.
Two
contractors. There is one in Kitengela, a Chinese contractor, and there is another one in Ruido, an Indian contractor.
Who do this technology?
They do that.
It doesn't matter.
It is very, very fast. Even Kenyatta National Hospital. If you look at the building coming up, if you've driven along, is it hospital?
The reason why, why I'm saying
hospital.
this,
we are using the same technology.
You and I can visit Moi Girls, can visit both the contractors, and the reason why I'm mentioning it is because to make that kind of construction, which is quick, right, requires architectural drawings in that direction.
Yeah.
You cannot have architectural drawings for so the architectural drawings have to be.
They have to be that construction specific.
Yes, and I think I would love to see what would be the price comparison for both. Will we save more money if we do this other technology, or is it more expensive? Because we save on time, I know, but what about on money?
There's no time and there's no money.
Huh?
There's no separation between time and money, because the moment you realize your project earlier, you have saved the money, isn't it? And the cost difference is very little.
The cost difference is little?
Yes.
So, okay.
And you gain a lot in terms of time.
Yes, fantastic. So that's another thing that I'd like us to consider.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, at the end of the day, if there are only 2 contractors that can do the job, then there's only 2 contractors that can do the job. They compete amongst each other.
Right now, from what I know right now, there are only 2, about 2.
I would love to know who they are. And
yes, there is. I'll get you the addresses.
But one of them built Moi Girls.
I'm not sure who is building Moi Girls.
No, the dormitory was done.
The one that is building in Kenyatta Hospital, I know. And there is another set of flats somewhere around Ruido for sale. There is another set. Those 2.
Okay, so maybe the architectural drawings can bear in mind that we want to go with a contractor that can give us that technology and give us a safe house within 6 months or 9 months.
Correct.
Perfect. Okay, so I think what we can do is we can have teams move, right? Lumumba, we can start moving so that we meet at the site, and we're giving each other hopefully half an hour, knowing the traffic to get to the site. Then from there we will disperse, and then the group will inform us on the next meeting on when we're going to Makueni and how we're going to Makueni. I mean, I need some proposals. I mean, I know we'll have to get 1 bus where we all go. Are we able to go to Makueni, see the site, and leave in the morning at 6, see the site, and be back the same evening? Yeah.
If we leave in the morning and school transport to make sure that everyone arrives at the same time, visit and then have a meeting and ask questions. Maybe by 4 or 5 people are coming back.
Okay, and then what about the public participation? We need to have a public participation. We'll need a team that handles the public participation, so that first week of July we can have a public participation.
The same group. We had that group. For the shelter.
We want to have the public participation after Waweru has come up with the final drawing now based on Makueni, so that we can present to the public what exactly this facility will look like, and then they all give their contributions as well, and then we have the final drawing. Because
we also need to work with the GBV stakeholders. They are also waiting just so that they can also say what they are going to chip in. Yeah.
They are also aware, they are ready for that.
Okay.
So is it possible to have two public participation? One for general?
We have the general and then we have for the GBV stakeholders.
So the general, the general, we will have it where? At County Hall? Where we will have the general one in County Hall?
I think it's Charter Hall.
Charter Hall, sorry.
I said before Charter Hall.
Yeah. So we need to establish the dates for the public participation, but by then we should have the drawings to be able to make a big presentation. Then we also need to have a meeting like this with the sector. Yes. And at what point are we bringing in the input of the consortium that runs safe houses? Because right now
they are part of the GBV.
Together with the survivors.
Yes.
So the survivors will come for the public participation, or they'll come for the
the second one, the GBV working group and the survivors.
Okay. All right. So the public participation.
Some survivors can still.
Why can't we have it all together in one space?
You see, now the problem with the GBV stakeholders, they want to bring in what they are ready. You see, this for Nairobi is such a big deal for everybody, for all the stakeholders, and they're all, in fact, they all wanted to come for today's meeting, so that they can say, you do this, I'll do this. They give us even their budgets, so that we are.
Yeah, the reason why we wanted to have this meeting today limited is because it was from GAF, my team at GAF, to become more acquainted with the players that we're already working with. So I think once we've moved from that, now we can add everyone else. But I didn't want to confuse the GAF team with too many players, right? Because I think they need to get it in bite size. So the chairman here and the coordinator and the section head, Lumumba, who is in charge of implementation of projects, and then of course we've got Pamela, who sits on our agenda desk, and then of course everybody gets to know everybody, and as we go on adding people, right, everybody at least knows everyone. You know director now, you know the architect, you know, we know the NMS connection, the county government connection, and then later on we'll bring in the senior people from both institutions. Yeah. But because I'm a patron from GAF, I decided that this was the best small team that we could have today, and I really want to thank you all, because I know we got in touch with you just late last week and you all made it, so I don't take that for granted. It shows that all of you see the urgency in us working together to get a safe house, and this will inform all future safe houses of Nairobi, and we will all put our you will be like the team that whose names will be probably somewhere on that wall, saying that you all played a role in that first safe house. So give it your all, put your passion in there, because this is something that one day you can walk and say, hey, go to that safe house, my name is there because I had something to do with the implementation and the decisions that we made on the round table on this safe house. So each and every one of you, your contribution is going to be valuable, right? So it's important that you know, give it your best, Google, search, talk, and let's get the best minds coming together to give Nairobi the best safe house, right? So unless there's anyone who has something to add, Wendy, we never gave you a chance to speak. I think Nairobi County must have formats on how they do their MOUs, but we're going to try and link you to somebody within the course of this week, that you can look at a draft from them and you take it the same way you worked with the police until we end up with a working MOU. Yeah?
I would just make one request. When we are setting up dates, for us to be given ample time, so that if you schedule a meeting, you can always move it around. And
I think we'll form the WhatsApp group, and then we will make sure that we put in the key dates. We want to do public participation first week of July. We want to do Makweni last week of June. Yeah? And then in between, I will have filling meetings with the various people, the ad hoc teams. Yeah?
Then from
the contract.
From GAF, then I need to know whom I'll be dealing with specifically.
You could deal from GAF. You can deal with the chairman.
Sawa.
And the coordinator.
Sawa.
Yeah, depending on what information you're looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, but GAF will put out the tender, and we'll just need to know what exactly is the BQ. You know, when we everything that we need to put out the tender, we will need, and how we can break it down into 3 tenders. So we also look at special interest groups. I like that. Yeah. All right. So can we all say we're departing now? Jenny Mercy's to the site, and we will all meet there in the next half an hour. Yeah, they all enter through that gate. So that home for the old people is obviously opened as well. Yeah. So the perimeter wall, this is the now. Yeah. This is one of the first lights that I put up, and it's such a shame that the lights are on even now at night and during the day.
So, madam, down here, you know, you have a small shed.
Yes. I'm the one who put that light during the adoption light project. So I'm aware about it.
Lumumba,
So this is part of the house.
Mama put this light.
So, mom,
I thought not the one before, no, not the one before that house. And so this one will have to go. What is it?
This is an old, I think, remnant.
I didn't recognize you.
I'm sweaterless.
I knew.
Yes.
I knew you would not know him.
All right, so basically we're in Huruma.
These are the guys
we're
who
in
are here.
Well, it's not Huruma, it's Njiwa Huruma, and it's in Runda, and the county government, Nairobi County government, who we're partnering with to put a safe house, that's GAF and Nairobi County government and NMS to put a safe house, are taking us to a tour to look at the land that they have available. Yeah, so basically we hope that within less than a year we should be able to commission a safe house for Nairobi County, the first one that's done by government funding and with various stakeholders and partners. So we had an initial meeting where the GAF team got to meet with NMS and the Nairobi County government, and we have our architect given to us by the Nairobi County and an entire team, and the whole idea is how we can bring a multi-sectorial approach, which will also include touring an existing safe house in Makueni, so that by the time we actually come up with commission this safe house, we've looked at all areas and everything that's necessary to be done. So our initial drawing showed it had limitations. For instance, it hadn't catered for PWDs. It only catered for 20 people. It worked with a budget of 18 million, but we have a budget of 50 million, and we also want to cater for a lot more, and we want to ensure that we also cater for PWDs, and we make separation from women, children, the old, and men as well. So architect, mimi nimemaliza, sasa wewe utueleze. So the perimeter wall is from that corner, I'm assuming. What about those are part of the slum? Huh? No. That's part. No. What is that? So
This is a school.
That's a school.
And it's a private school within the land of this institution. And we are told these are the people who are here that they are supposed to be living.
It's a private school.
It's a private school.
Okay.
But the end of the wall is up there.
So these are bone trees down this side.
Yes.
These are rumor slabs.
Yes. I think I feel, engineer, if there is a way, and I know we have a problem with windows,
Yeah.
we need windows,
Yeah.
but if the perimeter wall is included there,
Yes.
right, then it separates the slum from the safe house, and then we wanted them to have a bit of a garden as well,
Yes.
where they can go outdoor to sit, isn't it?
Yes.
And outdoor is always therapeutic, so we could also start by just planting trees that will go up, right? But at least secure the perimeter wall from that end, and then I'm looking at the way you drive down, right? And the ending is there. So what is there? What is next door? Because one of the things about that's Runda Estate.
That's Runda Estate.
Yeah.
You can see various walls.
Yeah. So you see, we already have a semi-wall on that side.
Yeah.
And the beauty is when you have a safe house, you need to know that there will be nobody accessing. So the only place we have an access now is the slum. where if we have a good perimeter wall with razor wire on the top, so you have to provide for razor wire or electric fence. So if we have that there, what will guide our ending would be this wall here for the dispensary. Yeah, but then the thing is, it depends on where you're going to have people parking, because don't forget, we might be bringing people with ambulance, we might be bringing people with community vehicles. So obviously there'll be a situation where you have parking, and I don't want us to lose trees. If we can avoid losing trees, like I can see we've got some mango trees here, right? We've got some good mango trees. So how will we work it so that we don't lose the trees? The bananas can be transplanted.
Yeah.
The bananas can be transplanted. They can be taken off and planted there in the front, or even planted in the place that we know we're not going to have the structure.
Or in between.
Yeah, because even these bananas would be fantastic to have. And I don't believe we should do away with them. They should be harvested and then transplanted, because it would be lovely to have a kitchen garden for the safe house, you know. So what is your feeling? I mean, I think if this is it, right, I don't know about my team. Chairman, I love it.
It can't be a better site. It cannot be a better site.
It's very fertile.
Yeah.
Because if I was to take, even if I don't disturb
Anything.
You see the greenhouse there?
Yeah.
You see the green mabati there?
Yes, yes.
That is
where the cows are. Yeah.
Yes. So
But
even
there's
if
a
I was to
structure
award
there.
myself,
There's a structure there.
this one we can
As part of the safe house.
Yes.
What are you using that structure for? Because that could be a counseling room. It's a staff house, but is it occupied right now with staff?
Yes. Yeah. But it requires some renovations.
But which staff are in there? Staff for which institution?
Those who are working.
Yeah, so you see, we don't want to take their buildings. So I want us to work ahead of it. I want us to work in front of it. And if we're going to have our parking will be between that staff house and the car shed.
Yeah, that's correct. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter whether we include it inside, for as long as it maintains its role, because someday it will be absorbed into the main project. I want to view this project as something growing. Today we have 100. Next year we have 200. etc. etc. So what we need to do is to do a master plan, in my opinion, from the cowshed all the way here. Now it is up to us now to identify what we execute today and what we execute tomorrow.
Tell me, since we're going up,
Yes.
in terms of, you say our perimeter wall is against this fence,
That's correct.
right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want, if you're thinking of us going long term in the future, let's say we're creating a structure that is going to house 50 rooms.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
And we go with that structure from that tree to this tree.
Yes.
All right? And the garden, because you see people who've been abused don't want to be visible to the public. That's why I'm saying the garden will be on the front side, on the back side of the building. The back side of the building. So this is the back side of the building. The front side is here in front.
That's right.
Okay? So I wouldn't want, and then you could have parking somewhere there, right? But I'm looking at the main structure being here, so that in future, if there is a need to make another structure, you work in that way that there could be two structures facing each other, okay, in the future.
Yeah.
Are you with me? So the one structure comes here and very close. You don't need such a big garden in front. Enough to have garden umbrellas and a place to sit with nice grass, right? So you enter the garden from the back of the
building.
or you walk from the front, so that you see, for extra security, because you have a slum here, right? Besides the wall, the back is just windows, nicely grilled windows. But then also
there's also the issue of they can actually set up the whole shelter here, and then, as you're saying, have another structure there where we'll accommodate the training facilities, the administration, so that you separate the
training
two.
of what?
Training, the livelihood skills the survivors are going to get.
No, we agreed that we would look at partnering with TVET for the skills. All right?
Yeah.
So that there can be, the one thing that we need to have one day, and we hope to ask our donors for that, is a bus. so that if they are going to go for training, they can be taken here very safely to the bus and they go for training if they're still staying here. All right? But if you're looking for a livelihood, then the only way we can do it is either making uniforms or making sanitary towels. You understand? So you have a tailoring, whatever, but they'll still need to learn the skills. You can learn the skills, I guess, here as well. But we don't want to have two structures. We don't have money for two structures. But we can design it in such a way that you have the main safe house, right? Where it's just for eating, sleeping, and counseling, right? And then you have an L shape coming out of the structure, which is now the administration block, where you have the training and the economic income earning activity. You talk about an income earning activity. So the income earning activity will be there, right? Where they can do tailoring of sanitary towels or school uniforms, which they can be selling to institutions. So then we're looking at an L, which incorporates the technical, the income earning facility, where you have some, so we can ask our donors for sewing machines and set up a sewing environment.
Also factoring in, some of them will be short term, others will be long term. So the ones who are here short term, 2 weeks training on something like tailoring, soap making or something, and then integrate it back into the community, makes it easier. But the ones who are here 6 months to a year, now they're the ones who can go to other institutions for long term training.
And anyway, it's known that if you give them activities to do, it makes them also be able to heal faster.
Yeah.
Right? So
I was thinking Owero.
Mpaka mwisho.
Yes.
Kwa sababu kama unanipatia garden iwe mbele ya nyumba.
So you see, now if we were to take that shed as our outer limit or our nearest limit,
that's parking now.
Now you see whatever land
Let's
we have
walk
there,
there.
whatever land we have here is about 2 acres. Yeah. Now 2 acres is so much we cannot build on 2 acres.
No, we
so
cannot.
it will have a lot of water.
Yes.
Now the issue that arises here is whether we are going to push our building
to the end.
To this extreme.
I want the building to the extreme.
To this extreme.
Yes.
And then
the garden will be where?
The rest will be the garden and camp.
Sasa tuko na bwana engineer. What you are saying, engineer? Unaona hapa uliona.
Yeah.
We want the building here.
Okay, fine. No problem.
Alafu tukishapata building here, kwenye unaona hili miti. Kwa nyumba namna hiyo, unajua mshahidi tunataka kuenda na hiyo ukuta.
Correct. Sababu hata hii ita grow.
Yes. Tutafanya hiyo ukuta hapa, ikienda hivyo, inashikana na ile ukuta. So anything happening inside here is only for safe. Now you look for a place.
You know, because of the slum next to it, for security purposes, right? Because you can see now that building is so much higher than our perimeter wall will even be.
Yes.
So
but we can't even get to the to the lower, to the higher, to the lowest point of the
the perimeter wall. But the building, you see, if you're going to have a building, you cannot have a building that will reach the end of that wall, because you have to have 6 meters, right, from the end of the fence, minimum.
Yeah.
So if you have that 6 meters, that front part, right, can be our kitchen garden where all our bananas move. It can be the kitchen garden there, and then the front garden for relaxation can be, you know, it can be on the sides. Because I know that even the garden that we're going to give them to relax, I mean they don't want to be where there's so much activity, like the cars coming in, cars coming out. So again, you have to remember that you can have your kitchen there, your kitchen garden there, with all your vegetation for feeding them, right? Maybe 2, whatever. Then the building, I'm looking at it here, it will absorb that building, right? And then in the garden now, again, where you know, the thing is, there are different sectors. There's the children, there's the adolescents, there's the old. So the garden should be such that different people can go in different places, and you should include that in gazebos, kind of. So you have a place there to sit, like the one I've seen right here at the old people's home. They have a place where you can sit, where they go and commune and talk, and even have sessions.
You see, thing is, the land we have, we are actually spoiled for land. So we can afford to have it. There is what I will call a shamba. That's for relax. And there is what I will call a shamba. That is for production. Like this yams, whatever the wish. Yeah. So even if I was to put this building to this extreme end, maybe it will be difficult for me to be persuaded to go beyond these three.
Yes. Okay. I hear you.
To go beyond these three.
Yeah.
Such that I create a good buffer between myself and the slum.
Yes.
So this one is for that person who does not want to be seen in public. They can come and have their police there. When it comes to the kitchen gardens, then I'll decide now.
Along the walls.
Along the walls. That's why I have the kitchen gardens. And then I'll have a service road. After the parking there, I'll have a service road which serves the kitchen and water. Now I don't know.
No, it serves the kitchen garden.
No, kitchen itself requires some service.
Yeah, but the kitchen is in the main building.
Correct.
The kitchen is in the main building.
Yes,
It's not outside.
Not that institutional kitchen.
No.
Okay, fine.
It's in the main building.
Now, Madam Disho.
When you say the first one, I'm building only one building, and if you have to do it, you have to do a connection between the building and one entrance and one fire escape. Now, so when you enter, you can go from the inside to the training department or the income generating department. So if you're going to make the building into an L shape, so the L this will be the training, which ends up to there. You understand? The training and the two floors, the training and the income generation, so that you can buy school uniforms, whatever. You have a shop. Now, when you have that shop there, when people we continue the wall.
It will continue a bit, and it separates that house with us.
It doesn't have to be a.
Then we now leave a gate here. Ya kuingia kwa safe house.
No, I want to leave a safe house. From what I have you guys.
Listen, unaona watu wakitaka kwenda dispensary wanaenda huko.
Sio tutaweka gate.
Hapo dispensary ni hapo. Hiyo ukuta ya dispensary utarudi nayo hivi. Alafu uta establish vile tunaingia. Hii nyumba na mbele ya hii nyumba na side ya hii nyumba waachie watu wako. Wewe work na hii space. Yeah. That's approximately how much?
That's about an acre.
Yeah. Work with that. Yeah. And make it straight from the end of that wall to here. And then straight all the way down.
Why are you limiting yourself?
Because we want to have a safe house that is well demarcated with perimeter wall. If they are already using that place as a staff house, we don't want to interfere with them. We're going into partnership where they're giving us land. Let them give us a cool, nice, square piece of land. Then we work with that square. And the thing is, the way you're going to do it is, you see, I can see behind there there's a house. So your safe house, the land between this wall, there's a little space there. All right, there's a little space I can see going down. Yeah, let's go back there.
I want to leave that one.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see, this wall is just to reinforce it. We don't need to build another wall.
Okay, they are saying, you guys from social services, you want to give us land from this end, from this corner of this, to the other end, and that way.
Yeah, but now tell me about the back here. What happens to this back?
You leave it for the
so our wall will continue with this one. So when you're doing our wall estimate, you will take this wall. You will take this wall that is already there. Okay. The dispensary has a way. I don't know how they'll access if it's on the end there. They can access through here, so they can go all the way to the bottom there straight.
Yes, this one. So we're going to start our wall.
Yes, straight down.
Straight down.
Yes.
Through the area of the slum.
To the end of the road.
Take advantage of those in the walls.
Yes.
And then come back.
And then, so where is our entrance going to be?
Here.
And you know, even as we think about it, I am sure they are going to renovate this place. They'll need to use this to expand the dispensary.
Yeah, that's all right.
Fine. We've left it. So that side would be fine. We're not touching it.
We are not touching the dispensary.
So that side.
Waweru is also safe.
Waweru, I think we've
If
agreed. So
Waweru
show me
gets-
where the entrance will be to our safe house.
You know, if Waweru finds that the sewer line is on this side, they have to be, the house might even up this side.
Oh, because of the
sewer line.
aligning the sidewalk.
I'll find out from there.
Oh, they want us to go from here. So where will be our entrance? Here.
Yeah.
This is our entrance.
Yes.
This is where the cars will come and
Either
park.
here, in
The
this
cars will
direction,
park here.
or in this direction.
No, so so this will be the car park all this way, right? All the way to the end. We're not interfering with that building of theirs. Our wall will continue.
If we give ourselves 6 meters from that building,
Yes.
actually
It comes to this mango tree.
it comes to this mango.
Yeah.
If I was to put my wall,
To be in from behind it.
yes, get this,
Yeah.
then I come here.
Yeah.
I can even put my entrance.
So the entrance can be here. Perfect.
I come back.
That is no. So the cars can go this way, or the cars can come this way.
Na yetu iko hapa ndani.
Mheshimiwa, unaona ile mabati hiyo
Yes,
nyumba?
yes, yes.
Unaona the wall?
Yes.
Ile wall.
Yes.
You can see ile pale imeshikana.
Yes.
Sinawacha hii maembe nje.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
Mr. Wairu anasema tutoe our wall from there to here.
Inakaa kama katikati.
Ehe. Sasa hiyo wall
This morning, you know, all the interventions, all the discussions are for the good of this county. Yeah, and I think now the next thing is on our wall. You'll be told which date we are going to Makueni. I'm going to try and make contact with the governor and if associate called me and see whether we can make the tour to Makueni as a day visit. We leave very early in the morning and we arrive in the evening. Right?
where Makueni?
Yeah.
No, Makueni we go in the morning, we walk around. Then in the evening we sit, we talk, we sleep. The next day
We leave in the morning.
The next day. No, ma. That is the thing. You can't take these ladies, go there, just walk and come back.
Let me tell you. It's all a question of budget.
No, but
so we'll have a, we'll
that
have a
one
look.
I know utaweza. We must.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
Tuko sawa.
Don't worry.
Hapana, itasotiwa hiyo.
Okay.
Wewe ule mzee.
Nairobi hapa. My senior.
There we are. Yeah.
So Madam, you also want to give a vote of thanks?
Yes.
So on behalf of my colleagues
Yes.
from the county, NMS, and GAF, we really appreciate you, Madam, for having taken this initiative, even to come here, and also to spearhead.
Because of the availability of land.
With this land that we
And
have
yet,
right now.
the owners of the land here,
Yeah, but you see the thing
Mukabana
is,
here does not complain.
No. He wants us to go all the way. He wants us to go all the way to the cow shed.
want to go
Take
to all the
about
way to
2
the cow
acres.
shed.
But I'm saying that we've also got here a staff quarters, which we don't want to interfere with. You know, mtu akikukaribisha nyumbani uendi bedroom, unaenda living room. Sasa wewe unataka kuingia mpaka bedroom. Acha, umeingia living room tumetosheka.
I'm seeing Waweru is seeing some very far. Some yeah.
Waweru,
Vision kubwa
vision
sana.
yako itaenda juu. Vision yako itaenda juu.
Waambie group photo.
You know, up to 7 floors you can go without a lift, isn't it? 7 or 5? 5 floors. Yeah. So let us look at, if our money comes proper, we look at going up.
I've never seen somebody who has been exposed to land na anakataa.
Huyu director.
What is he bringing here?
No, wajua hii nyumba ya staff, labda in the future, this section here can end up with staff quarters. So let's not interfere with their area for staff quarters. Yeah. And let's not interfere with their economic empowerment, because now don't forget they do all this maize and whatever. We don't want to interfere with all that. So they'll transplant. You know, I can send you somebody who's an expert to help you transplant, or even forestry can help us transplant. There's no need to lose any of those banana trees. Munahamisha tu zitashika.
Waweru, ninaona that wall you are talking there, mwisho utaangusha baadaye. because the future I'm seeing, the way you are
But
seeing.
we also have planned for Mji wa Huruma.
Yeah.
So we are thinking of even extending, we are doing a private wing. So, well,
Thank you, everybody. All right.
You never know
Now,
about the future.
My team from GAF, can we just have a kamkunji? Because we're going somewhere.
Yeah, from here.
We're going for another site visit. Charity.
Okay then.
Where's Chairman?
Come here.
Okay. See you, my dear.
See you, bye.
Yeah, we're going for another site visit. Huh?
Nitakuja kwa Salimi na tupate chakula. Ya, na wajua sasa wazee za auto vulnerable na hii mambo ya COVID na nimetembea sana. Na nijapata vaccine. So, wacha nisiende kuona wazee, nitakuja kuwaona ile nimepata chakula. Tunakojea chakula. Yes, beautiful place.
In fact, on my way to the next meeting, I shall speak to. We will bring food here. The population is not big, and I think whenever we're looking for population to give food, we look for 50 and above, and they're still under 50. They're 24. That's why we normally 48. So we will bring them food when we get our next batch of food. Then I'll have a proper tour of the place. Now we need to foster good relations with them because we are also going to be occupying the land that they are sharing with us. Yeah, but I'm quite happy with the place. I'm happy with the fact that you have an entrance all the way down into the safe house. Yeah, it's also secure. And Wangu, I think in terms of what we've always wanted, we've never wanted a safe house right at the entrance of the property. And so this one is beautiful in the sense that the safe house is quite far from the main entrance. Yeah. So and then we're going to demarcate that land and basically secure it. Yeah. And then income generating activity. Waweru is well versed, and let's take it from there. Step 3 coming up soon. Tutakutana Makweni.
Ndio.
Aya, sawa.
It doesn't rot. Termites don't eat it, and then nobody wants to vandalize. Like
metal.
No. These are crusher which will build. We refurbish this into a new crusher. And nothing lives here. Anything that goes in here is always like this. These are crushers, the one that you're talking about, you'll see them working in there. I'll get a new one. This is... These are also... These are the ones section. So these are 10 feet. Yeah, that's it. I use it. I don't keep.
So are you able to recycle these ones back?
Six inches. An elephant won't break.
This one weighs 40 kilos.
Just take care. No, these are all in has been crushed back here. So these are crushers now. So this is what you're talking about. So that's each crusher. And these are the generator in there. The dog is to be crushed. And are you getting it? So nothing leaves.
So what plastic is this? Cellophane bag?
Cellophane plastic. We have a contract with Kenya for the we blend this with the other furniture with the planks like 4x2, 3x2, and there's a lot. We also have a whole yard on the other side where we got tons and tons of that. After this, then we're going to be extruded. The extrusion room is on the other side. This is how it comes. Ambayo imekula. The temperature, yeah, very high. And they are always.
What are you feeling the temperature? And then you have the cooler.
Cool them down. So once they inject it, they go hot, then they need to cool to leave the mold. So you see how it pulls out.
Then it's extruding, it's going into this hole, then he's taking this hole into a cold water, then it's able to cool the hole.
Sometimes it gets stuck depending on the type of customer. So
you lose your mold.
No, yeah, you can lose your mold because you will heat, there's no other way.
You take it out.
You just have to heat. So I have like about eight strong men here. Whose job is just to relax.
So yeah, this is for making the posts.
This is just the posts and the flags.
Yes.
The tiles are in a different flag.
Okay.
But the bricks? The bricks are also the other flag.
Okay.
But here it's basically planks for making furniture. 3x2, 4x2, 6x2, and the posts.
So remember the chair you came with from South Africa?
So for those
it's something
chairs,
that you can make.
the chairs we make planks. Then we have carpenters who are trained as carpenters. It works exactly like
same as wood.
Exactly. And you can dye it.
Yeah, black or brown.
And then you get
wood finish. The one I have in my office is a wood finish.
Yes.
But I want to show it to you. Yes. Yeah. Because that will be probably phase 2. What is important right now is we want you to appreciate what you do.
This is basically the post.
Yeah.
And we got 1, 2, 3, 4 extremes.
Okay, so the thing is we want to build a wall in the school and we want to try and clean the environment at the same time. So our impact will be from source collection the youth all the way to installation and building the wall and then building the showers for the street level.
The shower is very interesting because you're going to be the first person who's initiated a green sanitation with
we have our street family. Remember last time we were in university, they have the best shower.
We have blocks. We have blocks.
They have blocks. They make blocks. There's another factory. How far is the factory that makes the blocks? Is it no, but what do we do right now? Because right now we're Uruguay. No, I have to go to Uruguay now to see the playground, yes. Yes, we want to see the playground because we want to commission it. So we have to see the playground. Yeah.
Because you've taken a very short time.
Yeah.
I hope we'll take the same road, outer ring road.
We'll have to go to the airport and then take outer ring road. It's the shortest route right now.
Jogo road and then into Uru.
We'll just go through Guru one.
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, so let's continue. Let's follow each other. Make the walls of the showers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's showers. They already have toilets there. We want to give them showers for the street families. Okay. So because they cannot always go to Nairobi University, and they need to shower. So we've agreed with the Michiki Park to put 2 blocks of showers. Yeah.
This is a milestone because
Yeah.
the first
So
abolition
how will you suspend the shower on the wall? It'll be one suspended on the wall.
Once the architect, once we see the site,
Yes.
we'll be able to,
Lumumba will take you to see the site tomorrow. Yes, Lumumba? And then you'll also take them to see, now we're doing Uhuru Boys. Once they know the principle, then they'll be able to figure out the cost of the wall. Yeah? And the wall, we're doing it with the bottles, so that we can get rid of as many plastic cellophane. And we've done our part on getting rid of cellophane. Because if all the schools could build PET, the Coca-Cola bottles, and the plastic bottles are very difficult, they're not biodegradable. And we don't know if they have a problem of recycling, but they're full in the dump site. If we can stuff them with cellophane bags, which are again not biodegradable, and we make them into bottle bricks, we can actually have schools having security walls, and this will be our first example. Yeah. So that we can get the schools involved in collection of these bottles as they come back to school, the students. Yeah. So let's get going. Let's go to the boys.
Allow you to take some short samples.
Huh?
How are you going to explain to somebody?
No, it's okay. We don't need to. Yes, I remember.
The one who was there.
Yeah.
Because we have the number of hours that we had paid for will not be enough. So he didn't even charge the extras.
Okay.
But we now have to put a
Have you
lot of...
finished that complex?
Yeah, the complex is there. We have done even the terraces on the floor. There's a fencing that is remaining.
Okay. So basically this entire field.
Even the other side, they went up to the other end. They did a road round so that the boys can run around the complex.
Okay.
And then down there, they flattened.
So the boys will be in school when?
From tomorrow, they are getting in tomorrow.
So if you completely level this, I want to come and see the boys in action. So we have this ground that was leveled.
Then the other side there, we have for volleyball.
For volleyball?
Yeah, then handball is the other end.
Okay, let's go and see the volleyball one. Lakini sasa wataingia kesho watakuwa ushamaliza hii?
No. No, why it is like this is because of the protocol. So we have not been playing. So when they told me now we can play because next time the games, then we started clearing.
So you mean because of the COVID protocols?
Yes.
The students were not allowed to play?
Yeah.
And now you're allowed to?
No, we have been allowed. The games are starting next term.
Not the one near the dormitory? Because I thought they were running away from the dormitory.
No. This was what we are fighting. And basically, we are just doing it for the outsiders because our boys now, they can't live out of the complex. So this is the volleyball.
But it looks like it's not completely level.
No.
They came here and they leveled it.
The structures, the lorries that were bringing for us material that interfered a bit. But we are the two here.
So where are your nets?
We can't leave them here during the...
We are put for holiday after.
Okay.
Now the boys are not there. So we had one here and that one. Then this. Then down there.
So where is it that you want the wall?
The one was down there. From that end to there.
Which end?
That's the end of
Not on this side?
No, this side is okay.
Where's your fence? Is that one?
Yeah.
That's your fence? So you want the wall along
the river.
Where the mabati is?
Yes.
Let's go and see. Has Dr. Ali arrived? What is this?
This is when we were doing this building, because I knew there were chaos, I came to do this first, so that I was feeling nikisika naye sample. So it was what I used for as a stove during the building.
Okay, and here you've got your green.
Yeah, we are not buying now. Down. Behind there we have done next to the dome.
So you don't buy your vegetables?
No, we don't buy.
Okay. We have a project for fruit trees.
Yeah, they called me. Somebody called me from the fruity trees. They are coming tomorrow.
So this is your chamber?
Yeah.
Who plants? The students?
This one was planted by students.
They are doing agriculture.
Yeah.
Mwalimu, there's a machine for cutting nyasi ile ya juu. Unaweza nunua hiyo iwasaidie.
Oh, yeah.
Which one is that? The slasher?
There's a blade you hold like this up.
Yeah. There's a time they also bought quite a few of them and then they disappeared.
Yeah.
So basically, where's the river?
The river is down. But this is just a fence. This side is not bad. The river, along the river is what is bad.
So you're saying the boarding side is not the problem now?
No, because boys now can't leave the compound. You know, as they get interested in academics, that movement out is limited now. And especially now that these ones perform, you attract them now to become more serious.
So have you started occupying and learning from this classroom?
We are learning from here. We moved from the other side. All of them are here now.
When you say all of them, what?
All the classes are here. From 1 to Form 4.
So the classes that were there
are the domes now. Yeah. So I know we'll just get a challenge next term because of the Form 1. The requests are just too much.
Now the thing here is Mwalimu.
What is that building there?
That's I was doing abolition block, and Kenya Power came and stopped.
Because you're underneath their power lines.
Yeah, and it has brought a lot of money, but finally they were forced to move it.
Move the power lines?
Yeah, they have to move this and that one. So the IPRA people, Energy and the Petroleum Regulatory Authority, are on them. So they were told to do a budget, which they have done. So Engineer Okech is just out of the country. When he comes back, he will be working on it to make sure that it is moved.
So then you can use your block. So where do the children go to the toilet now?
We have been using down there. And then the other side. But it's not good.
It's not sufficient.
So that's why, because they have done 20.
There
are 20 of them.
Who financed that?
This one was economics students.
You know what I'm wondering? You know, with such a big ground, you can be one of the best schools. What's your capacity right now?
520.
520. You could end up being a school that, with these grounds, you could even house 1,000 students.
No.
Yeah, so what I'm wondering is, why isn't anyone looking at that potential?
In fact,
Because we have a shortage of secondary schools in Nairobi, especially boarding.
I went to Dr. John last week, last week after the results. And he couldn't believe we can do that kind of thing. He didn't even know the school. So I told him, with this kind of results, why can't you help?
Do you have a science lab and a computer lab?
They gave us computers, they gave us 10 last year.
And the science lab?
Science lab is what we have been following up. You know, that time you were to come with the PS. You remember before Corona?
Yeah, now he moved.
Then he moved. But I talked with, when I went to see Nani, when I went to see Dr. John, the person I found there still has even the write-up what they have done for the PS to come. And he was telling Dr. John that he was supposed to visit this school.
So tell me about my wall.
So the wall, you see from that, you know that wall?
It's on the other side of the water.
The river is this side. So we are thinking if we did it up.
So we need to come 6 meters from the river?
Yeah, the river.
It was coming to about Imiti.
Because there is a road.
So basically what you want is from this big stick here,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
tree, all the way to that end. That's where the wall is supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
If we do that, we have secured
Is
this.
the river full of plastic?
No, no.
It's not. It's one of those clean rivers.
No, but once in a while, in a minute, then
We need to be able. Wait, where is this guy? You found So this heap of soil. I know you have the city council sewer. That's running underneath.
Yeah.
And is it connecting across or is it draining in the river?
No, it's passing it. There's a manhole there. There's another manhole there. Then it extends. Then it goes out.
So are you still constructing? What are you doing?
We are doing finishing. That's why they were keeping investment.
Because now the future students are occupying this. Are you not allowed to?
No, we only do over the holidays. Especially when they leave, we do over the holiday.
And did you get a borehole? Were you one of the people who were benefited from a borehole?
We didn't.
You didn't get a borehole?
We followed up and it was in the system. Then the MCA, you were told the MCA was against it.
What? Oh yeah, of course. They don't want to make you. They don't want the school to be able to do anything because they're just busy trying to grab the land.
But
What a
you see
shame.
the other day, Mesumeateudi sent somebody, two people to get a chance in school. So I told him, I have no problem. Build the dome because I don't have a dome. If you build the dome, I'll take them.
So this goes into the main sewer,
It goes to the main city.
not to the river.
So 6 meters is ending on this piece.
Hakuna nyoka hapa.
So that's what we. But when the city council, the NYS, they did a road. There's a road there. Can join a diploma as a certificate course. So we have not wasted even a single course. All of them are qualified
Or something.
for something.
That's fine. The carry, we just need to introduce him to, and then measure from that end up to, yeah.
Because like now what we were thinking, we wanted to do the fruits here down.
The what?
The fruits. Because they are coming on Tuesday. They are told us to set aside somewhere where they can.
No, this is the fruits or not? Because you've also got bananas here.
Yeah.
This is Kenya Forest? Or who?
They call themselves fruity schools.
Fruity schools? Okay, so they're coming to give you some fruit trees?
41.
41 fruit trees?
Yes.
Okay, because we also have a program to provide fruit trees.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how they're working. Send me their contact so that we don't overlap and provide it to the same schools. We can go to different schools.
So they will give us 41.
Okay. And it will be interesting to see what kind of trees. What fruit trees.
What fruits,
Yeah.
So here we did the financing over the holidays. We were not able to complete the whole open. So when they go.
How much do you get per student from the government?
15,000.
Per year?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have done, but the floors up, we have done all of them. So we are remaining with this floor to do.
So no.
But these tiles, we have done for the abolition block for the boys. So when they stopped us.
And this is all with the stipend you get from the government?
You know the stimulus was 1 M. It was only 1 million, but we have spent around 1.5. Plus this, it comes around 1.8.
So some of the contribution is from the parents?
Parents, yes. Because basically what we did, you know, our chairman is an architect. He's the one who drew the plan. And the chairman of the infrastructure committee is a structural engineer. So they are the ones who supervise. So that makes it cheaper instead of giving full contract to contractors. Yeah.
So that's it. What is the total block costing?
Up to now we have used around 40 million.
40 million. So Lumumba, when we have 50 million for our safe house,
it should be big.
We're talking about a very big structure.
Three-story building. Leave alone equal is like this and another one straight. Mom.
No, but I'm also being guided by Mbagathi girls and Kibra boy girls.
Yeah, and down there we have the offices, we have the staff room, they have the toilets, they have the dining. And then now when they go up, so 2 stories up, you have so many children.
Okay, so Lumumba, where is our doctor? Find out.
Hello? I'm fine. Kuja, wewe sisi tuko hapa. Hebu ona.
Umemaliza kutua?
Uko wapi? Hebu pindua gari upande hii. Kuja upande hii nyuma.
Left.
Unaona hiyo gari nyingine imesimama? Hiyo nyuma yako. Ya piga kona vile umepiga na ukuje na hiyo gari kabisa mpaka mwisho. Where are you?
So what happens to all these wires?
No, this one, you know, the building is supposed to reach there.
Yes. Not primary.
You have 2
Uhuru Estate Secondary. Songa mbele.
So they are supposed
to. Uko kwa hiyo Uhuru Primary.
That's why they were left.
Songa kuja tu pande vile ulikuwa na umekuja ukitoka pande gani?
This is where they are written
kutoka Metropolitan. Yes, no, come. Wachana na Uhuru Primary, proceed ahead as you are coming down. Then mbele tu kidogo on your right, you will see a signboard of Uhuru High School.
Once you paint this building, it will be very beautiful.
Yeah, very beautiful. You're finishing now. I'm just doing, but you see, initially, I just wanted students to get classrooms. So after that, now I can now work on finishing, so that it can be a good class. But it has really also improved students' discipline. They are coming in. Yeah. Because the other side we were so squeezed. Then with the field now.
So now let me ask you.
You have been involved in an accident. That's why we stayed.
How come?
Jaren's car has been hit.
By who now?
By someone.
Yeah.
You can bring from behind.
So we had to wait to solve.
And did they have insurance?
The guy who didn't have insurance, but they have compensated him.
No. His car had no brakes.
And it's on the road.
Yes.
Yeah, they were doing a road test. It was in the garage. So the mechanic was doing a road test.
Hey.
With the owner?
No, the owner is not even there.
Mechanic guys.
The mechanic is doing the test whether the brakes are working.
And now he's obviously. He's got the results of the test. Okay, so you've seen the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, the grass has grown because they've not been allowed to play sports. But it's quite well leveled. But what's his name? Raymond will go and get us the before and the after, so that we can appreciate the work that has gone in. They also use the money to level around the whole ground, so they have a running track and the 2 volleyball pitch here. Yeah. So the thing is now, of course, the equipment to make the sporting work, the football pitches, and he says they've got the volleyball nets and everything. The wall he wants is from that end along the river to the other end. But what we have to do is we start and we see as we move along how much we can cover.
Yeah.
Then we look for the people who actually produce that litter, the Kirengets and the Coca-Colas of this world, to help us continue. But by then we'll have an estimate. We'll have something to show. So he's going to let me know who it is, right? So that we see what fruit trees that they're doing and how they're doing it. Maybe we should actually partner with them to complete our project on fruit trees to the schools that we wanted to give fruit trees. But they've got a beautiful shamba where they're growing their sukuma and their spinach. So they don't even buy that.
Oh yes, yes. Now come this other
And
side.
the other side is where we have the
Hiyo gari hiyo on the left, naona hiyo gari ndogo iko. Pindua na ukuje na hiyo gari kabisa paka juu.
No, it's going wrong direction.
No, don't go down.
Yeah, left.
Oh. Yeah, just turn like that. Yes. Thank you.
So the other side we have done a lot of vegetables and a lot of bananas.
Oh, you have a big land, eh?
Yeah, the other side there is a big
School
space.
was up for grabs.
This part was gone.
we
From the gate,
even this was marked. Even this was marked for demolition.
You have seen there. It was X.
And they've done so well. So there's just a need to boost them with
Like
the
now-
science lab, but that will be the ministry.
And the problem now will be the demand next year, the next term. Because we have so many differences, so many. For Form 1.
What mark do you take?
This time we might be forced to cut at 3.
Are you serious?
The demand is too much. Because the marks we have here.
Daktari, ulipotea?
We went round through Ayole.
But now you know the place. Ours was just to make sure that we link the recycling of plastics, the youth groups, and the school.
Right.
So basically, this is Daktari, this is Juma. Juma is the headmaster of the school. And what Juma wants is along the river from the end there, right, 6 meters in, he wants the wall.
He wants a wall.
Yeah, he wants a wall. So remember, we want to do it with bottle and plastic so that we can actually stuff the cellophane bags, which are not biodegradable, right, into the plastics. And then we basically build the wall. And then we have a sample of a wall. But you know, the wall will still need to have pillars.
We have every 3 meters.
Yes.
We go to have
Okay, so come, let's have a look at the place. Because what I would like is Juma, I'm going to send him Raymond to look at the price of the slashers, and he gets back to me on that, and we see if we can give you 1 or 2. Okay? And then the Kenya Power, you give me the contact of the engineer. I see when are they going to remove this so that you can have use of your toilets. Yeah.
In fact, what they were saying.
So there's this work, and then of course your borehole.
Yeah.
To figure out why haven't you already got your borehole?
But there is water.
Yeah, but the water is
What
coming
we
from the
have-
tanks. How do you get the water?
The tank is up.
But you got your tank, you're to the main sewer of City Council.
Yeah.
The water supply. Nairobi water. Okay.
So once it comes, we pump it up. So I think the boys have water to go out.
Okay. Fantastic. So
Even this one, on top of this, is meant to have
water
like
tank.
3 water tanks.
what is this supposed to make?
I've put around 1.5. We have put around 1.5.
So my dear, can you see? Me, I just want 4 showers for girls, 4 showers for men with recycled plastic.
Yeah, but this one has,
This one is complete.
20. This side 10, the other side 10. 20. Yeah, 20.
No, but ours is completely
And then I wouldn't know.
concept.
Yeah. This just you don't know. Very big enough for the boys. Yeah.
From the corner of the land,
Yeah.
the land is there, 6 meters from the river. We have to cut all this. These are what? Bamboo?
Yeah, but
Is that bamboo? really?
Napier.
Yeah. So you'll have to cut all that so that you can have a clear view of the wall.
Yeah.
Alright? So that's why I'm saying that, but you can sell this, isn't it?
Hmm?
You don't have cows here, do you?
No, we sell. We sell them.
Yeah, so cut and sell, make some money. Yes. So we need to be 6 meters in, and then what I want you to do is to string it, so that we can see where the wall is going to come, and we obviously, Juma will get some people to just clear this area.
Yeah.
Juma, what is this?
This is now the one to remove the sewer from it. Because the main sewer, the manual is there. Yeah. So you're supposed to get it there. The way.
How will it go upstream?
No, it's down. We have taken it down. Lower.
So that's we're not going to worry about this side for the time being. We're going to worry around. We're going to see how far, depending on how many meters by 6. You understand? So
6 meters high.
6 meters high and 6 feet.
6 feet high and then 2 feet down below.
So at least if we can have the first 10 meters done, and we have we have the costing, right? So I want you to tell me from that end to the further end. We need to have a breakdown. How many bottles? How much cement?
So the easy thing to do would be, if possible, after excavation, just have the perimeter, the distance. Because
he's not going to do that. That's not his job. He's the headmaster.
No.
If you are partnering with us, then you and we have a team that's going to come up and do the BQs. They're the ones to figure that out.
But now, because we need to manage this,
yes, of course.
now the issue is not because currently I don't think we can.
No, he's going to get some people to cut all this and clear it.
Okay, once it's cleared, then I can just come to the dimension. Yeah. So that now I get the perimeter of the whole area. So where is it starting from?
From you see that wall is the wall that borders is supposed to.
We're doing the landscaping, and we went and he has them.
The machine's ready.
He has the machines ready.
So then we recruit him so that we help him with the work. Yeah, you know, we try very much. Like, let me tell you balance. You know what? There's a woman in Mathare who we gave catering equipment. So when we had, for instance, Precious Talent school collapse and we needed to cater for the families, we actually gave the contract to the same woman. Okay, so in the same way, this group that has asked for money for whatever it is that they've asked for money, right? Did they get it? Did they qualify? No. So we're putting it in the first quarter. So we can actually introduce them to so that by the time I come, it's cleared and he's already got an indication of the bottles. But in the meantime, we also need to commission the boys to get the bottles and to start stuffing them with plastic, and we need a good quality. Give me this.
The bottle stuff.
You see, we don't. Yes.
You mean the bottle stuff?
Yes, the bottles have to be stuffed. So you see, Charity, something like this. This
but
is
not with sand.
No, we don't want to use sand. The reason why I don't want to use sand is because this is not biodegradable.
Yeah.
And we've got so much of this all over the county.
Yeah.
So if we can collect it all, we give the people in the dump site a job to collect all this and stuff the bottles even from the dump site. We will get a lot of the bottles already stuffed. The question is here we'll have to have a team that is making sure that it's at the strength that we need. Because if it's not stuffed to the point where it's a brick, what will happen is we're going to end up with suppressed walls. Yeah.
Yes.
And what we want to do is we want to actually recycle PETs and this cellophane. Yeah. And we don't want you to shred it because this you put it with a stick only. Remember, I'd gone and actually made some of those sticks. Yeah. And we stuffed a few and then we had our bottles stolen. We were going to build a house.
Between this material and milk packaging, because you see this is quite light to achieve that kind of strength. I think milk material will work much more better. The one we use for making a product sustainable. Because you see, at least that we can be able to offer guarantees in terms of
the whole thing here is a wall.
Can I tell you something? This cellophane bag, for the next 30 years, if you leave this cellophane bag here, for the next 30 years, it will still be here. It's going nowhere. So what I want to do is to take it and put it in a bottle and put it on a wall, a perimeter wall. So the idea is not convenience for us. The idea is how do we ensure that cellophane bags that we have before the ban, that are still in our dump sites, are actually utilized to build this wall. So if every school in this country built a wall with cellophane bags and PET bottles, we will actually clear our environment. Together. And all schools need perimeter walls. Okay? Even our wall, when we're going to build our wall for the safe house, we will use the same concept. Because the whole idea is to rid the environment of these plastic paper bags. So don't give me milk packets. Milk packets are biodegradable. Isn't it?
Some of them are
not all of them.
Oh, you're talking about the polythene ones because they're harder. Yeah, maziwa. Yeah, I've seen that. Okay, sawa. So we can call it a day. Juma Asante.
Yes, okay.
I will look into the football goals.
Yes.
My son has 2. I have to go and ask him if he can give them to me.
Yes.
To donate to you. Then you just paint them. Because he's reached the age now where he goes to the gym, he doesn't play football outside the garden.
Okay.
So then if he agrees, Uncle knows where they are, he will pick them up and bring them here. Then you just have to buy the net. I know, I have to speak to him. I have to speak to him. Yeah, they are an eyesore now in my garden. So I need to get rid of them. But they didn't cost much, man. Kwa hiyo 1.7 nimekupatia hukuweza ku charity. Charity, Juma said you want to give him 1.7. Why did you give him more? He said you only gave him 1.7. Why did the school let him? I gave you 1.7, that's all. I gave you 1.9. We have the check presentation. Can you pull it out for me?
What?
No, Raymond, you know, we capture all this in history. So, Raymond will get it for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness, what a long day.
The first day. So you can even relax and go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Juma, unaona hizi mafuko?
Yeah.
Hizi zote.
This one, now
Zieke
tell
kwa
the boys
pipa.
to start
Tell the boys to start stuffing bottles.
Yeah, yeah.
Coca-Cola bottles, water bottles.
Yes.
Even you, when you have a good set,
Yeah.
you also help it with your own school.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell them but those are boarding, they don't go in camp.
But we have classics coming.
Do you have day as well? No.
No, no.
All are boarding.
You should consider bringing animals. You have a lot of grass.
But you see, very initially, it was not somewhere you could.
So you'll get the group. You facilitate, they come with you. Yeah. So with you, Lumumba, let's see, and then we can also see how we can help them with photo too. It will be nice to see them when they're here. We give them our draft support tickets and they start working. And then when they start working, Juma will call us. We send the team to capture the clearing, so we can capture the whole thing up to the end. Yeah. So Juma, you will call us every. Charity will tell people and she'll liaise with my office.
Yeah, yeah.
But we have to by end of June have cleared and have started at least and have 10 meters of wall. Yeah. So once we see the first 10 meters, then we know. And the neatness, the neatness is so important.
Yeah.
That's why, yeah.
Once you have a good master, they know how to figure it.
Yeah.
The wall is not that good.
So Juma gets a wall, we get to experience with the experiment and experience recycling of plastic waste. Because you see, the idea of GAF is to make sure that we work with affirmative groups, and we've seen a lot of young men and women are collecting all these bottles. Now they have no source of selling them, and PET is not really taken. So we'll also conduct a safari. As soon as we finish with this, we'll contact people like the Coca-Cola Foundation and see. Yeah, but Safaricom, you see, they're not giving us the waste we want. The waste is the people like Keringet and all these water companies. Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah. But first, we have to have an example first to
if
show.
If you don't do it,
no,
they'll not take it.
No, so let's do our first sample. So we take the before pictures, which and then we come back and take the after pictures as the slashers are here.
Unfortunately, if the work is going on.
You sell them.
Yes, shout out here.
Yeah, no, I mean, just find the buyers. When we went to Roma, they only took out. People would buy this. Yeah, so you call them and you sell it and you get some money. You might buy toilet paper, you might buy paint. Yeah. So, Dr. Asante sana.
I'm grateful.
Yeah, thank you for giving me your afternoon. Yeah, we appreciate. We have a lot of work to do. So the architects will talk to us. Everybody has to meet them to basically assess the concept properly. So if Charity organizes by tomorrow, the people are here to start the clear, then she'll let you know. And you're all in the group. Yeah, so there'll be updates in the group.
Once it's clear,